So welcome and good evening. It's August 13th, 2015. Welcome to the Town of Ayer Conservation Commission meeting here in beautiful Ayer Town Hall. Please join me for a pledge of allegiance to our nation's flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so there's a huge blank.
Where?
So from 7:30 to 9:15, is that 2 interviews?
Yes.
Okay.
However, just received an email just before coming that Glenda is moving out of the house tonight and after all cannot make it. So,
I see. Okay,
but she's available anytime next week.
I bet she is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this evening it's not Joseph Smith, he's the one who wrote after.
Brian?
So Glenda's out. David Pickard?
Nope, that's Rhode Island. You thought that
Yeah,
was
that's too
away.
far away. We on the same page there, Rhode Island?
Well, we can talk
What's that?
about that later. We can go through what we've, all
Okay.
the ones we've gotten.
It just makes me nervous. Brian Colleran, he's the one who's
He's the
coming?
one who's coming in at 7:30.
Okay. Okay. So Glenda's out, Brian's in. Got it. Okay, so that's 1 interview at that point.
Yep, so cross off that S. Yeah, and
Okay.
everything after that is, tenuous time we don't have to stick to.
Sure. Did we hear it all from, it wouldn't have been this week anyway, Hudlin or
We've not heard
Duncan
over-
Brown?
I thought we'd go over all those things on the record. And
Okay, no, I'm just saying, but neither one of them asked to be on the agenda.
Right.
Good.
We do have one thing to add, which is, I guess, 6 Wright Road and Harry Zane further down Wright Road.
Okay,
We'll add that.
well, let's add it right now.
Okay.
Okay. Any other changes to the agenda?
No.
I'd accept a motion to accept the agenda as written.
Second?
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we have 5 minutes, meeting minutes. We'll do those approvals right now. Thank you. Since it's not of interest for the 7:15 public hearing, but it was of interest from emails, whatever happened with Mr. Cadigan and town assessors?
I have not
Is that
heard anything
nothing?
new. Nothing new. So.
Okay. Reason I say it's not important is it doesn't affect your application. So Mr. Cadigan said, well, how does that work? If someone owns multiple parcels and they apply for this parcel, don't they all count together? And so the assessors actually said, well, gosh, I guess we're not 100% sure. Not that it affects your application. So they've taken it to town council to ask them for an opinion on that.
Well, actually, I think they already got an opinion. It was sort of vague, even from town council. But I'll follow up and ask Tom if he heard anything more definitive.
Okay, I guess the real question is, what does it mean? And quite frankly, actually, I guess the important thing is, what does it mean to them? Because what do we care? They're the ones who provide they provide the list, right? So if they decide that the list is this, or they decide the list is that, that's what matters. Their decision. Not important for your application.
Okay.
However, if you were thinking about all this stuff with having to get a certified abutters list is a pain in the neck from the assessors, this was exactly the type of situation where it shows that it actually helps your cause. So.
Spiffy.
Spiffy.
Hartzell was on vacation, right? He's not back?
Haven't heard anything from him yet.
That's what I thought.
So,
I actually checked email last night
yeah.
by accident. Did you staple your notes on the back on purpose?
Oh, I did. No, that's a mistake.
That's okay. I have no changes to this except I don't think it shows that during the discussion with Bob Hartzell that George exhibited a snort of derision, but that doesn't say it on here.
Which one?
Yeah, I don't remember which one. I would accept a motion to, I would be interested in a motion to accept the, I'm sorry.
Just one
Is conservation spelled wrong?
question. No, on the last page under office updates, the Canes spill.
Mm.
That's the middle bullet.
Yeah.
The second to last word of that. Should that be pathogenic, or is that a new word that I don't know? Pathenogenic.
That's what Mr. Wetzel said, so I just copied it. Why could we make that up?
Now, it's crucial to know right this instant because I don't want it to be frozen in my head that pathogenic or pathogenic are one is appropriate and one is not. Pathenogenic. Nope. Pathenogenic does not come up as a word. Oh, wait. Diseases caused by organisms in humans are known as pathogenic diseases. No, it just flipped it to pathogenic.
So I put pathenogenic.
We put pathenogenic, yes.
Yeah.
So you've got a en that are extra.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Feels good.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. That was it.
Otherwise, we would have filed pathenogenic minutes on our website.
Nobody wants that.
No, would have been very bad.
I would accept a motion to accept these minutes and hope that they go viral
As corrected.
as corrected.
So moved.
Second.
Any more discussion? It's infectious. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you. I don't know why people say we aren't fun. Okay, why don't we open our 7:15 public hearing, notice of intent for 255 Snake Hill Road, DEP file number 100-0385. Good evening, Alan. The walk was successfully carried out on July 25th, seems like 2.5 years ago. No issues were brought up during the walk. Takashi and George were both able to attend, as was Noah. And I think I caught a perch in the pond. I don't think we had any questions. Did you have any issues that came up from the walk? Did you, sir?
No.
Okay. So I think the only thing that we were talking about during the walk was soil, and you guys talked about trucking it off as you worked, but or also storing it inside for backfill. So you will inevitably end up with extra soil. So the only thing that we would ask is that you haul any material off-site.
Yeah, we've also changed our design a little bit. We're not going to excavate now.
Oh, goodness. Slab on grade?
We're just going to put sonotubes in, concrete tubes,
Okay.
so there'll be far less impact.
Absolutely. Okay. My experience is you will turn up a surprising amount of soil doing sonotubes, piles that you never would have expected, and you'll say afterwards, that really came out of all there. So please, the same condition. After the hay bales are in, call for the inspection, and then any material that you disturb and turn up, just haul off-site, please.
Okay.
Okay. Did you have any questions? I know you weren't able to make it that day.
Right, so do we want to actually write in a special condition on soil storage?
I think we would probably just note that soils will be hauled off-site. You're not planning on keeping any soil on site, correct? Okay. Okay. So at this point, based upon the quality of the application, information received, there are no abutters here to speak on this. Mr. New, did you have any comments on it? Okay. No abutters here to speak. And the fact that the walk was carried out with no issues that came out from the walk, I would accept a motion to issue the order of conditions for this particular application.
So moved.
Second with just a question.
Certainly.
So you said you changed your construction method for it. Is that in any way reflected on a revised plan, or?
We're going to enter into detail plans now. We don't have that yet.
Okay.
I talked to some of the guys that are gonna be doing the construction,
Okay.
and they asked me why we were excavating, why we weren't just supporting it with,
With tubes.
I guess now you use these, things you just drive right in the ground.
Yeah.
Concrete.
There's all sorts of different ones that you can use. So
Right.
the only thing that we would ask, so you're gonna have to turn something in for the building inspector.
Right.
So if you could just copy on the set of plans, copy us on the set of plans, no matter what, it would be less intrusive, so you're right, forgive me, I
Mhm.
wasn't concerned about the detail only because it's less impactful for us.
Right. But when
And
they,
if you want, I can put an EN in impactful for you, too.
And you folks like hay bales rather than silt fences?
Quite frankly, so, I thought, did I think we were talking wattle?
Again?
So there are two different methods. One is the hay bales with silt fence backing it up. So the hay bales go in, the silt fence goes in, and the stakes are pounded in. The other method is a wattle. And so you may have seen these. It's the thin tube of material that
It's
gets
like a
right,
coil of-
exactly. Yep. You can. I don't know if those might even be easier for you. They you buy them. Have you seen them in the big black sacks? So they come in a sack. They're all rolled up inside, and you cut the sack and then spread them out. They seem
And you stake them down.
and you stake them
And
down.
those get staked down as well?
Yeah, they seem actually, quite frankly, far easier to install than the hay bales and the silt fence.
they're a lot easier to install. They're also a lot easier to uninstall.
That's why I brought it up.
Yeah.
Hay bales after sitting there for,
Yeah, if
Oh,
they're filled
there's-
with mulch,
they're miserable.
yeah, if they're filled with mulch, you basically just slit the casing and
Yeah.
spread the mulch.
The other nice thing about them to that point is that, so let's say you've got them out in place, people can step over them much more easily than they can the hay bales and the silt fence. They're not as much of an impediment,
Yeah.
but they do the job to keep the soil from moving. So, especially in your area where people are going to be walking back and forth through that area, it's probably a good thing for you.
Yeah.
They also don't have weed seeds in them
Right.
as much as hay bales do. so.
Okay, so those are acceptable as well?
They're perfectly acceptable and they conform to the ground better as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
The only way to do hay bales and silt fence in a way that perfectly conforms to the ground is to dig them in, which is much more miserable.
Yeah.
This is a nice, easy solution.
Well, we did an estimate based on your instructions to make sure we have enough room for
Yeah.
construction equipment and everything, and we were looking at probably 50 or 60 hay bales.
Sounds about right at what, $4 a piece?
Right. One of the guys had a place he could get them somewhere in Groton, I think, for less than that, but in that ballpark. Anyway.
Yeah, but
Okay.
well, you're in luck, right? So we also trimmed back what you needed to do, just go around the corner. You didn't have to keep going all the way around.
Yeah, yeah.
So you can pick either one. The only thing about the hay bales and silt fence, again, is you've got to be much more careful to make sure that they conform to the ground. You're not very bumpy over there, but
Right.
that's the idea behind them. Okay, so what typically happens at this stage is we agree to issue the order of conditions based upon our terms from this meeting. Between now and the next meeting, we issue a draft set of order of conditions, yes, which you already have.
Which I already have,
Wonderful.
because we can eliminate some of the special conditions, but that's not my forte, as you know. And
Wonderful.
we also do need, for page 2 of the form, your registry information for the parcel. Of that one. If you go to page 2. Right there, we need to fill in some registry information. Is that's absolutely necessary, Tucker?
Well, that's when we register this at the, when we put this together.
That's not where you register the order of conditions, that's the...
Well, so it is where you register. You go to the Middlesex
Right.
South, well, you can actually, you'd probably end up in Cambridge
Yeah.
to go to the registry of deeds. But what Jess is looking for is in order to be able to say what property you're registering it to, we need to get your information for your book and page
The
information.
current information.
Exactly.
Okay.
Which would come from our assessor anyway.
Yeah, but I
But
think
should.
the assessor said, I think there's a little confusion on which parcel you'd requested, you'd put in the application versus what the actual parcels
Oh,
are,
I
so...
see, okay.
But the good news is they should be able to handle that with the assessor.
Right,
Yes.
You don't have to go to Cambridge to figure that
Right.
out.
so it just...
Horrible,
it's
horrible
nice.
place.
Okay. I'll work that out with them.
I think we can all agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, it's just for driving. It's pretty if you don't have to actually drive.
And then for the special conditions, I'll just add on. And then under special conditions, I'll just add on one that says soil, basically.
Soil to be removed from the parcel.
Removed from parcel, yeah.
Okay. So, we have general conditions and special conditions. So, we go past the general conditions to our special conditions. Wait.
It was Steve Sears who did the delineation, right?
Say again?
Steve Sears from David E. Ross. did
Yes,
the-
he did do it, yeah.
That's one to confirm.
Sorry, I forgot my hearing aid.
One other question. Is it the air gun in sportsmen's club or sportsman's club?
I've seen it all ways.
Okay.
I think it's MANS, Sportsman's Club.
Okay.
I've seen it more than one way, so,
Okay, I will make everything conform on that then.
okay.
Okay.
In fact, I believe our shirts and our buttons and stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Sportsman.
That's really where it comes
I was gonna
down
look at
to.
the incorporation.
Yeah, I don't think they're consistent.
MAN or MANS?
I would say MANS.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll go with that one.
I think that's what I used when I put the NOI in.
When did we break this up like this? This is not what I remember it looking like.
What?
The special conditions.
We did that a long time ago.
Really?
Yeah, we've been doing it for a while.
Mm.
Yeah, Becky.
Oh, there you go. Here's your soil storage. Okay. Okay, so here's an example. So, number 57 is all vegetative debris, uprooted stumps, brush cuttings, and other debris should be removed from the site. There's none of that in the area where we're talking about the work. So I don't have any problem crossing this off as a special condition. However, at the same time, because there's none of them, it doesn't hurt to leave it in. So that's just one of the things. No sodium chloride shall be used within 100 feet of the wetland resource. I don't think that's going to be a problem. There shouldn't be any of that anyway. So.
So it's basically, it's our boilerplate, and some of the things won't actually apply, but they'll be in there, and
Yeah.
just don't worry about it.
Okay.
No underground storage of fuels is allowed. You know. So-
that-
No.
Yeah, I mean, I think, so I'll put it this way, Alan. So we have had probably one or two professional engineers when they've come to us and they've said, okay, well, for our parcel, this doesn't matter, we're not going to do this, or especially, can you please take out the one that says that we won't use salt because we use it in our parking lot, which, by the way, happens to be right next to the wetland. So obviously, in this particular case, none of this, for this one, so often companies will use sodium chloride or calcium chloride
Okay.
for keeping dust down. Like if they do a long road in, they use calcium chloride. I highly doubt you guys will use calcium chloride. So, could I cross it off? Yes. Will it matter to you? No. So, just so when like Jess was saying, we could cross off some special conditions. I don't think there are any in here that affect you in any way.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
please take a look at them. If there are some that you find to be a bother, let us know. But
I will.
I don't think any of these matter. Do you have any a feeling on that?
That's fine.
To me, it doesn't matter to leave them in if they're not going to apply, because if all of a sudden something changes, at least they're in there. So.
Like the one on sodium chloride, that doesn't specify, continues after the, and after the issuance of the certificate.
Well, it turns out this one does. No sodium chloride shall be used within 100 feet of wetland resource area, within 200 feet of a perennial stream. If the area will drain to a resource area, regulated buffer zone without significant dilution treatment, and any contact or agreement for snow or ice removal shall stipulate this condition shall survive the issuance of certificate of compliance. So, but in this particular case, we're not in that area. I think that parking area is far enough away to be 100 feet, based on the plan that we saw. So, I'm just, for these, I'm just torn. It shouldn't affect anybody, but at the same time, I also definitely don't want anybody using sodium chloride right there, so it's tricky. Okay. I think we can leave it the way it is. I don't think it'll affect anything or hurt anybody. And again, if you take a look at it and you say, gosh, we were hoping to use sodium chloride right in the wetland and kill the fish off, please let us know and we'll go from there. But I doubt that's the case.
No, that's something I don't think I've ever done before here, I'll tell you that.
I have a feeling that since it's your lifeblood back there, that will be the place you protect.
Yeah,
So
we,
I'm not terribly worried.
one of our sources of income is 3 fishing derbies every year, so we're not about to kill a fish off.
There you go. There you go. So I feel very comfortable we're on the same page. On the same page.
Okay.
Okay. Why don't we
So
keep
what will
those?
happen, Jessica? You'll let me know.
So, basically, as long as you have, once you get me the registry information,
Okay.
I'll plug it into the final, and I'll add in just the soil storage
Okay.
wording. As long as you don't have any objections to the draft, and you give me that information, I can call you and say it's ready,
Okay.
which would be,
Is
Pretty
the
fast.
assessor's office open tomorrow morning?
yeah.
I'll
So-
do that.
So you'll say it's ready. So ready for him to review, because we would have to vote on it at our next meeting, right?
Do we?
Well, that's how
Oh.
we've often done it.
Although lately,
Unless we sign it now,
Yeah. which we could.
which we could do, as long as we indicate during the meetings of this, during the minutes of this meeting,
Right.
that the intention is to complete the form with the assessor's info, to add the condition that says that soil will be removed, so it's condition 49. I'm just going to change it to say soil will be removed. If you find those acceptable and you have no issue with those, then at that point, as long as no one else has any problem, there's no reason not to issue the order of conditions at that time. Any problem with that?
No.
You, sir?
No.
Okay. So why don't we sign it now with the knowledge that those will be coming?
Mhm.
Wonderful. And that means that after you have received the final copy and you've taken it to the registry of deeds and attached it to your property, then at that point you can go ahead and do the hay bales and call in for the inspection. So it's 72 hours for the inspection, and that's more about who will be in the office to let us know that you've called.
Okay.
And then once you've reached out, I'll probably be the one who comes by to pop by and take a peek at them this morning. Okay.
Bring your son on your fishing pole.
Absolutely. Might even bring 2 sons in a fishing pole. No, it's fine.
How would you want this delivered?
Because we've already voted to issue this order of conditions.
Would you want to pick it up or have it delivered certified?
I just as soon pick it up if that's convenient for you.
Yeah, what I can always do is, if I'm not gonna be there, I just leave it down in the town clerk's office for you to pick up directly.
Okay. And you just shoot me an email, let me know it's there.
Okay.
I'll meet with the assessors tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Get this parcel thing straightened out.
And one last question, when do you plan on beginning work, all things?
At this point, we'd have to get engineers and architects, get detailed drawings so that we can get our building permits. So I wouldn't anticipate starting construction before mid to late September, probably.
Yeah, you had it drawn out by the lady over in Groton, right?
Well, those aren't really detailed enough. Gabe's gonna want stamped, engineering stamped drawings.
Yes, he is.
And we're aware of that and we're working on it.
Okay. All right. So, based on where we are in our public hearing, we have signed the order of conditions. Until it's finalized and issued, we won't close the public hearing. So, what we're going to do is we're going to continue this hearing to our meeting on August 27th.
Okay.
At that time, we will close the public hearing because I'm assuming there'll be no reason for us not to. You will have probably already received the order of conditions and gone ahead and taken it to the registry of deeds. So, unless I'm missing a step.
That's fine.
You look like you had trepidation.
No.
Trependation? so I'm just going to keep using it. Okay, so let's continue your public hearing until August 27th. I would accept a motion to continue 100-0385 to 8/27/2015.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Again, Ellen, you won't have to appear at that meeting. Everything will have already been squared away by then, unless there's some complication that develops. But otherwise, we'll close the hearing that night and look forward to hearing from you when you get ready to do the digging.
Yep.
Please make sure, in fact, probably the best way, have a copy of the final plans when I come out to inspect the hay bales. Obviously, you're not going to change the footprint.
No.
The hay bale line's still going to be the hay bale line. If something changes with that, you need to let us know, but otherwise just have a set of the final drawings when I come by to do the hay bales and we'll go from there.
Okay.
Great. Thank you very much.
Technically waddles,
Technically waddles, yes.
so as not to confuse you. If you're going with waddles.
Okay.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. It is 7:30.
Thank you.
Thanks, folks. Have a good night. Are you Brian? Brian, come on up. Good evening.
Hi.
You have a Connecticut phone number.
I do. It's been a long time, but I've kept it. I've had phone numbers going to California, Michigan, Vermont. There's no reason to change it anymore.
Everybody knows it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's usually the reason I like to change mine. But you know what? Good for you. Good for you.
Right, unless I feel like, dropping some people off and making sure they can't find me again.
It's actually really effective. So, Brian, so good evening.
Hi.
Our Conservation Commission has been very interested in filling this position now for a couple of months. One might even say 10. So,
More correctly 9.
yeah. We were extremely lucky to have found our first person because as far as the position goes, it is only part-time. It is not benefited.
Right.
It is a union position, and in fact, money is taken out to pay union dues. So I'm going to say all those things right now before you even start. If you want to run now. Those have all come up. Also, there was
There's a mandatory amount that's deducted for your retirement. It's like deferred payment.
deferred payment to retirement,
Yeah,
mandatory
municipal.
under state law.
Yeah.
That's through the county, right? Middlesex County?
Yeah.
Right.
Municipal requirement.
Not money that you lose, money that's just held for you, just in case you weren't going to save for retirement on your own. Bring all these things up before we say another word, because all of them are things that fit some people's situations and don't fit other people's situations. And if that doesn't fit your situation, rather talk about it right now and save you the trouble.
Excellent.
But also, just underscore our last agent, Becky, was with us for 7 years, so.
Right.
Oh, so
Becky
you
was-
guys are spoiled.
We were.
spoiled.
We
We were
were.
very spoiled.
And,
She liked us.
And in fact, Becky was fantastic. The hours worked for her in her personal situation. The benefits worked for her in her personal situation. The enforced retirement worked for her, and none of us knew about it because we had no idea it was happening. Well, because
Yeah.
it wasn't something that the town told us about when we hired her. And so another person who came in to talk to us about the position said, "Oh, do they have that enforced retirement savings?" And we're like, "The what?" We had to go to the town administrator to find out about it. So we had never heard about that. Had you heard about it before?
Not for air, no.
Yeah. So it was brand new to all of us. So anyway, so it just seems like the responsible thing to bring it up before I say, so Brian, tell us about yourself.
Well, thanks for all the warnings.
Wouldn't you rather have that? I think relationships in any form should come with that right off the bat. But that's just me.
Well, if you're a con artist, it'd be a poor way to start.
It's a terrible way to start, which is why I hope it gives you some sense of comfort that we're not trying to hide anything. Right off the bat, 7:36, we've already told you all the bad things that could possibly happen.
Oh, come on. there's got to be other bad things.
Oh, absolutely. I have to sit through these meetings. I tell terrible jokes.
Yes.
Mike, want to pop up on any of that? No, it's one of those. We have a very loose and comfortable commission, and so finding out about some of these other things that we didn't know anything about, like the forced retirement savings and other things, was very disappointing to us. And when the position was created with the personnel board, there were promises made that it would never be a benefited position. It would never extend past 19 hours a week. And that fits so you're squeezing that subset smaller and smaller of folks who that fits for.
Yeah.
And so we're hoping that you collide in our Venn diagram, but it's not great for a lot of people. So please, tell us about yourself.
Well, would you like to start anywhere specific?
Well, so I was looking over and I noticed that, yes, you were in Fresno for the Parkway and Conservation Trust. So what was that about?
That was after grad school, and I really had an interest in doing land trust work. The philosophy, really appealed to me. And the girl that I was dating at that point, she was still at Michigan doing her graduate work.
Perfect.
And
Separation.
Yeah, and she knew that she was going to get a PhD, and she was either going to go to Vermont or California. And California worked out for me, and it didn't work out for her.
I see.
Which is where the transition comes in.
To Vermont.
Yeah.
Mm.
So that worked out in the long run. So that's all, good life lessons and life decisions there.
There you go.
But that was a shame because that was really nice. That was a good organization and really intriguing locale, and just lots of, if you're really into doing environmental work, there was a lot there to be intrigued by. It was, the river formed essentially the boundary between the urban sprawl of Fresno, which had a very strong socioeconomic connection to new homes, rich people lived in, old homes, poor people lived in. So the downtown core had the least infrastructure, and the further out you went, it got better and better and better until you reached the bluffs over the river and the county line. And then you crossed the county. It was very agricultural, and it was along the bluffs. It was all orchards and crops right up to the bluffs.
Sure.
The river runs down the middle. There were cougars that would run up and down. They had at least 9 of them. They were doing salmon restoration coming upriver. They were doing dam concerns coming downriver. They were doing invasive species concerns going downriver, and the river would dry up for about 200 miles, actually, just south of Fresno. And so in a sense,
Because of the dams, or?
because of the water contracts and the water rules and regs and all that.
Yes.
And so they want to bring the salmon up, but they had to do it over 200 miles of dry river, so they were trying to get the contract settled to get enough water out of the dam. So this piece of river that we were dealing with was the only bit of river below the dam that existed. It was a 30-mile stretch of river, and then it went dry. And it was the only, so it's up and the down at the same time. Because, most ecosystem functions can't really go past the dam. And this was a big one. This was a big one. This wasn't a little dam. I mean, there's nothing I can think of. If you'd have to probably go down to like the TVA to find a dam comparable to Bryant Dam.
Really?
It's a classic piece of concrete. You could see the guys that designed it had a lot to do, or inspiration from like Hoover Dam and all those real classic pieces.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was really intriguing, great fun. And so they were both a land trust as well as trying to create a ribbon of recreational trail to get people down to the river, because the bluff was, and the property rights was a big block for that urban core, which was, again, a very intriguing crowd, because most of the Hmong from Vietnam who the CIA took out, about 30,000 of them ended up in Fresno.
Holy smokes.
And in other places in the valley, there were a bunch of them. Most of them ended up in Fresno. I think it was that, and the Twin Cities ended up with like 20,000. But it had that community. It had a strong farm worker, migrant population. It had, while I was there, it had the largest homeless encampment in the state. It was like 3,000 people living under a highway it was crazy.
Whoa.
So lots of outreach and education. And yeah, anyway, we could go on and on, but it was great fun. I liked it. It was a shame to go.
Diversity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like a great project. So I think, so you went to Michigan.
Yeah.
Did you, at that time, I noticed in here it says Town of Natick Conservation Commissioner. So you're on the Conservation Commission.
I've been to my first meeting.
Excellent.
I actually know the Natick agent through family friends. And so when I ran into him and when I started making friends with one of the selectmen at an Earth Day thing, they were talking about the trails. And I think they conspired a little bit. And so they got me on the commission. You know, it's kind of...
That's how it always works. That's how we all got tricked.
They've already apologized to me several times.
Yeah, sure. So I'm going to bounce around just a little bit.
Yeah, go for it.
So I noticed, so it looks like an awful lot of what you've been doing has been in invasive species, et cetera. Are you capable of flagging wetlands and wetland species and taking soil samples?
Most of the work I've done with invasives has been wetland focused in one form or another.
Perfect.
So riparian, fen, you know, if you want to consider lakes and rivers wetlands too, you know. So it's from full wet to nearly dry. I've been in those situations the whole time. In terms of doing, it's been vegetation oriented though. So in terms of doing the soil work, that would be a learning curve situation. That would be something I have to pick up. But I feel like if I can, you know, recognize a wetland, I can probably very quickly, you know, learn the soils aspect of it.
Makes sense. Well, I will say this much. You know, it's one of the things that's most important to us, and the reason is that the purpose of the position, our original position, was more of an administrative position, where there was a person in the office who took in applications and did the advertising.
Right.
And that was all that person did. And we recognized that we needed someone who could come out with us to walk sites, who could speak to developers, who could show up on Tuesday and say, this is not at all what we approved, what are you guys doing? We don't run into that very often, but obviously we wanted someone who was capable of speaking to those things.
Right, and in one of those situations where it comes down to like a 2-foot question of where the wetland ends and where the end of the construction begins.
Right.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
It's a bigger deal than you can imagine sometimes. Well, maybe, probably not, but. So, right now you're presently a consulting ecologist at Politan. Where's Politan located in Natick?
So he is. That's Chris Politan. He's an invasive specialist. He's based in the Connecticut Valley, and I know him from my work in Vermont. And he and I have been kind of trying to figure out a way to establish is too strong a word, but to give him, by extension, less of a commute.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's a job in Carlisle, or if there's a job in Natick or Framingham, you know, he has to do a 2-hour one-way commute just to do the site visit. I'm a lot closer.
Sure.
A lot of his work is in Metro West. And so we've been working that out, but recently I've had to sort of dial back a bit because the game we were playing, I'm playing primary parent for a 20-month-old.
Excellent.
And so she's much more demanding as a 20-month-old on my time and energy than is like
No kidding.
8 or a 10 or a 12-month-old. You know, I can do things for Chris with a smaller child. I kind of can't do things for Chris as well. And he's also in the process of buying another company and trying to figure out how to integrate and transition. Anyway.
One word. Backpack. Just saying.
She gives me about 45 minutes at her best before, you know, we have to do things her way. So, but yeah, backpack's key. When it works very well.
Right. When it doesn't work, it's right in your ear.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a tomato. Well, excellent. Well, I was just trying to drive down to, so it sounds like you are a consulting ecologist, but it's not your primary focus.
No, and that's why getting into the personal situation thing, kind of a shorter time frame, I could maintain that primary parent role, but actually do something a little more regular, a little more predictable. And then probably still have time for Chris if and when he settles the new business.
Well, that sounds like a good fit anyway. Jess, did you have any questions for Brian?
Yeah, so you're really looking for a part-time position at this point with,
I think it'd be easier,
yeah.
you know, in terms of we know more than a few two-job parent families, and it's not sane. They're crazy. It's, you know, like the work that goes into just existing is amazing. They're very admirable. I'd rather not do that.
It's a real strain sometimes.
And as much as we have a lot of, we have need for good field work experience, we also do have like nitty-gritty officey stuff. Are you comfortable with picking up that aspect?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. You know, you'd much rather be out in the weather or the field or whatever, but, you know, it comes with the territory.
It's probably about 2/3 of the activities, and the only reason for that is that at the end of the day, the work that we do, you've got applications that have to be processed, you've got conversations that have to be had, advertisements that have to happen, and you say to yourself, okay, great, well that's 2 days of my week. Yes, but your week is 3 days, so it's that's what it really comes down to. So
Yeah, it's unfortunate, you know, it'd be much more fun to be out in the field, obviously, but, you know, so it goes.
it takes a person who knows what they're looking at to get through the applications. We recently had an application that was not well received, or wasn't received well, I guess is a better way to say it. She didn't go through it properly. That first one that we were talking about, that
Oh, yeah.
it wasn't evaluated in the way that it needed to be. And
Yeah.
that's a big part of taking in the application and saying things like, actually, this isn't ready for a hearing. This information isn't present. Have you filed before? Have you?
Oh, no. In a manner of speaking, most of my jobs have been, here's a goal, here's a task, figure it out as you go. Make it up, make it happen, and...
We're talking about parenting, right?
No, but that's true too. You know, like so the job in California was, we were trying to figure out how to make salmon habitat without dealing with the river. You know, that was federal issues, and so we decided to take on invasives because they were crowding out the native vegetation, and so there just wasn't the same kind of shade regime on the water. So, you know, if you want salmon to spawn effectively, you need a temperature zone. The river was too hot, so you know we took that on and we went after it. The job in Vermont with the knotweed. That was something where my 3 bosses had seen, after other storm events and floods, rivers would suddenly have mountain. And they figured out the floods had something to do with it. So after Irene, they scraped the nickels and dimes from under the proverbial cushions and came up with a salary and said, here's our problem. Good luck. We want less knotweed, you know, in a year or 2 years or 3. Go for it. And I was the only one, I think, who ever tried that. I could find no reference in any kind of literature. My wife is an academic, and so I got to dig around in some databases that you know you normally wouldn't have access to. I couldn't find any information, so I was making that up as I went. The job with the feds on Lake Champlain, that was the first year they were doing survey work in Lake Champlain, past 15-foot depth of the lake. And we're at 80 feet doing sample survey and making that up as well. So a lot of my experience is, you know, less formalized.
This would be pretty pedestrian compared to that.
Oh yeah. But, you know, as you already pointed out, there's a few things that would be new to me, that would be good to know.
It's certainly interesting. You know, the I think what's nice about our community is we have a strong industrial base. So we don't, when we get an interesting project from those folks, it comes in and it's well presented. It's usually provided by a professional engineer. You're basically fact checking their work. And then of course we have a strong homeowner contingency where I guess the nicest thing to say is you're typically helping them write the application. And so there's a lot of that too, where there's assistance given. And that's one of the things we like about having this person in this role is that we have the developers who are supposed to be doing it right, and that's a fair expectation. And then we have the folks who have never done this before, and they come in and they're nervous, and we don't want them to be. We want them to feel like we're here to help them and to help them get through the the natural rigmarole of the application. So
Well, that's rather friendly.
you can either work with people or you can fight with them forever, and it doesn't seem to make sense. So
Fighting doesn't usually turn out well.
not as well as you'd hope, anyway. Did I cut you off?
Not really, but George's question would be about how you deal with nasty contractors, etc.
Oh, did you know that?
He always asks that. Every now and then one has to.
Yeah, a lot of this work involves construction inspection. So, if you had much experience with, there's two ways of working with contractors. A, you're the guy paying them. And B, you're the guy not paying them and telling them what to do. Unfortunately, we're the second.
Yeah, I've had experience paying them. We did one of the big things I did well when I was in California was I had a 3-year job. I had a 3-year grant, and the first 2 years were spent getting papers lined up, and so I did the whole job in a year, and it was like $100,000 I spent, and like 50 grand of it went to a native plant nursery. So I ordered those plants like a year in advance, so I had to keep going up and double checking, making sure my plants weren't getting sold or that kind of thing. Hired people to put in like 5 acres worth of irrigation, and making sure that all went well, and then hiring other people to help put in the plants that had been growing for me for a year in this like 2-day window, and then hiring somebody else to drill a well, and somebody else to put a fence up around the well so the local 13-year-olds wouldn't, knock something off important. So I paid contractors. In terms of dealing with people I haven't paid, with volunteers, invasive species work has a lot of that. And especially nasty people show up when you're dealing with herbicides and invasives. And so I've dealt with more than a few very well-meaning, perhaps misguided, maybe not, depends where you feel on some of these things. But I took the brunt of their emotions.
I'll turn off.
And just that level of dealing with things was probably the closest to, not paying a contractor and having to keep them in line. Just handling volunteers and herbicide issues. And so, not quite, but that's what I got.
Well, and it's an important point. One of the things that I think, to George's point, one of the things that I think is most important is making sure that during our process we put together the real scope of work, that we put together those conditions that are important to us, that we make sure that the plans are accurate, because at that point what you're essentially showing up and doing is you're saying you need to do what you said you were going to do. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's a contractor who's working for you and you say, this is what I paid you to do, or whether it's a homeowner or a contractor who's come in here and said, I want to do this project. Our job is to set and stipulate the conditions. And at the end of that process, if they haven't met the conditions, then there's a problem and we need to rectify it. And if they are meeting the conditions, then we're thankful that they're getting the job done. Have you done any of the state's paperwork for an order of conditions?
No, because relatively speaking, new to the state. So, and then the job that I do with Chris, that's not my role.
Mm-hmm.
My role with him is going out and doing a site visit, and maybe doing the GIS work. and then figuring out sort of a plan of attack on, what would be the first focus. If we've got a town situation, like, let's say you guys wanted to work on a park, and it turns out that it's a $20,000 job, and you've got 5 set aside to do that. How do we spend your $5,000 appropriately, get results that have ecological meaning? And then maybe next year you get another 5 or maybe 7, in sort of thinking in those terms. That was more my role rather than doing the fine print.
Well, you're lucky then.
Listen, it's good fun, yeah.
Anything else for you, sir? Mr. Todd?
Brian, your resume is very impressive in a number of ways. You've talked about how you were able to sort of kind of on your own be creative and come up with solutions for projects and issues that didn't necessarily have a defined path. I think with the type of position that we have, the fact that it's limited time, and that we operate under certain pretty well-established protocols.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the question that I would have for you, there's no doubt in my mind that you could pick up a lot of things that you need to know pretty quickly. But in terms of your experience, have there been situations where you've been forced to maybe be a little bit less creative and be more sort of on task with prescribed procedures and that sort of thing?
Mostly just with the finances.
Yeah.
The various grant reporting, the keeping my bosses up on my spending, that kind of thing was much more, put A here, put B here, put C here. That was really it. Dealing with money.
Okay.
I had to do things just so. And I definitely caught hell once or twice from the finance lady at the land trust, because her style didn't necessarily line up with the grantor's style. And there was one situation where we had a middleman, so the grant was funneled through another organization before it came to us, and those 2 different entities had 2 different styles. So essentially I would take the same receipt, photocopy it centered, photocopy it to the left, photocopy it to the right. I mean, it was a little silly, but everybody needed it done their way. What do you do?
If you want the free money, you can fill it out.
Then they give you a hoop, you jump through it.
Thank you. And just to follow up on that, it's clear that you have a lot of skills, and I think that would serve us well. I think one of the primary roles of a conservation administrator is as an employee of the town, and as basically the person whose job it is to keep us in line in terms of making sure that we follow all the rules and regulations and procedures that we're supposed to, that we, to the best that we can, kind of apply those rules consistently across all applicants and that sort of thing. I think that's, in my opinion, one of the main jobs of a conservation administrator. It's not really a question, it's more of a comment and bringing kind of the discussion into focus a little bit as to what our commission or any commission kind of needs out of a conservation administrator. So I guess if you want to speak to that aspect, I don't doubt that you could do that.
I have to do a lot of reading really quick with a lot of memorizing.
Yeah, I think a lot of it will just be becoming familiar with the regulations that we operate under and that sort of thing, which I have no doubt that you can do
I don't know,
and
I
do well.
saw the Mac handbook, and that is a deep, dense, intimidating creature.
No.
I guess the
Speak
fact,
by numbers.
the fact that you're now on the Native Conservation Commission, I think that's always helpful to. It's a very helpful way to become familiar with the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act. We do have a bylaw that's kind of useless, but we have a bylaw as well, so that's a good way to sort of get up to speed.
Yeah, I can get both sides of the coin.
And you said you just recently joined the commission, so you probably haven't had a chance to take some of the MACC fundamentals type courses. I think those are good.
I looked at them, and they actually don't really start offering until September. There's one course on ferns in August.
Yeah, there are some online ones that I would encourage you to look into. they're not as stimulating, but I think in terms of just helping to speed up that learning process,
Yeah.
which I have no doubt that you'll be able to
Are they
do quickly anyways.
webinars?
The webinar type things, yeah.
I started looking at that, and it looked as if they too had scheduled dates. It
Okay,
looked
yeah.
like they were.
They might not be
just
sort of
in
on
play.
demand, yeah, but
But sad to say, September is only 3 weeks away.
this is true.
Quite soon.
This is true.
Sad to say.
Do you have your rock salt and your roof salt yet?
Exactly.
Yeah,
I do have a roof rake, so
roof rakes are good.
yeah.
And there was a whole discussion the other day. We went up to New Hampshire, and the maples are turning now.
Yeah.
There are
If you
maples
look
turning
around
now.
the neighborhood, so to speak, you'll start to see things. The edges, like the burning bushes, are starting. There's a couple of red maples I've seen that just one leaf, two, and it's coming.
I was blaming it for why the fish weren't biting on Sunday. So there you are. All right. So
Likely.
it was the definite reason is the answer you were shooting for. So did you have any other questions?
That was it. I would just want to make sure that it's clear that much of, I guess, what you'll need to do on a whatever your schedule is on a day-to-day basis or 3-day-a-week basis is kind of making sure that that you help keep us on the right path, and that there will be some kind of prescribed routine to it. On the one hand, on the other hand, I think that there'll be plenty of opportunity for you to use kind of those critical thinking skills that you've displayed in the past to help do that in the best way possible. So I guess that's the point.
And to Takashi's point, I think one of the greatest parts about this is that we're a volunteer commission, and we do show up for meetings on Saturdays. We do our site walks. Every application with a notice of intent has a site walk. Everyone. We've never done it any other way.
But it's not
And-
every Saturday.
But it isn't every Saturday, but it's whenever it's needed. So we do them on Saturdays. Typically, if we had a meeting tonight, on Saturday we would do our walk. And so that would eat into a little bit of your time for the week. However, it's easy to plan and figure out. It's no bother.
Every project, really.
Every NOI.
Every notice of intent.
Every NOI.
We do.
Now, I will tell you this
I'm
much.
thinking about Natick. I'm wondering what their track record is.
Well, I will say this much when it comes to an RDA. If someone comes into us and it's a simple project, a lot of times we would say that if they came in and they presented it. So in the past, what we had done with Becky was if someone came in and presented it to her and she had time, she went and walked it that week, and then the RDA paperwork would come into us at the next meeting. The person would come in and say, "Yeah, I'm just doing this very simple project," and then we'd say, "What did you find back?" And she'd say, "I walked the site, no issues," and then we would vote on it that night. So it gave you gave her the opportunity, would give you the opportunity to be out in the field for those kind of applications. For notice of intent, we like to walk them together because, quite frankly, later on, if there's a problem, I want to be able to remember what I saw when I was on site. And in fact, it's helped me in more than one case where we've gone back to a site and we've walked around and we've said, "This isn't what we were thinking about when we were here," and we've been able to chase down through those kind of details. So that's been very effective, and I wouldn't want to give that up. It also means that later on that person stood there with you and told you what they were going to do, and if it's not what they said they were going to do, you now have the ability to say, "This isn't what we talked about." And I find that to be a very much more effective tool than a bunch of angry emails bouncing back and forth. So anyway, do you have any questions for us?
Just sort of the basics, what's the process, what's the plan, that sort of thing.
Sure.
As we've been alluding to, in a manner of speaking, the job is, fairly straightforward in the sense that, you keep the peace, and whether it's buffering against somebody coming to the commission and making a fuss and doing it the wrong way, you kind of do that, but at the same time, you keep the commission in their own line and from overstepping into, some space that they don't belong in, so to speak. That's not quite accurate, as you all know, but, it's that peacekeeper between all parties.
Well, that's
So at
true.
least that's, the
More of a facilitator, I would say.
Yeah,
Yes.
more of a facilitator. I hope you're not going to
Yeah.
knock the unpeaceful out. That's one of the best parts. And in fact, quite frankly, So as a for instance, we have two folks who have issues right now with applications that are relevant to them but are not necessarily, they're not their applications. And my feeling was we were not going to handle it by a bunch of emails and written queries off the beaten path. No, it's going to be on the record. We're going to discuss these things. We're going to come in and it's going to be a meeting agenda item, and if folks want to come in and talk about it, they will. And it's only appropriate because someone filed with us and they have a notice of intent to do this project. That person needs to be notified to be here for that as well. So a lot of what we do is to take anything that comes into us and to make sure that it happens on the record. We don't want anyone to be, restricted or held out from their opportunity to speak. We don't get all that many, well, I shouldn't say that now. We seem to have had a number of more contentious applications over the last couple of years, but actually I think that really comes down in some cases to being we have a more educated neighborhood now, and that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. So anyway, sorry to cut you off on that, but no, there's no keeping the peace. No. Bring it right in. It's far better to handle it all together, all at once, than it is to have that angry, quiet, off to the side discussion.
Right.
Right.
And in a sense, that's what I meant. The folks that get tricky, and that in my own head I was referring to, are the ones that are very concerned about their particular project or their particular concern, and they get the sense that they're not being heard, or their opinions, even if being heard, aren't being listened to, and those are the ones that take a lot more time and energy to to convince them, like, yes, we do hear you, and yes, we do understand you, we're not ignoring you, we are listening, and we you're here participating with us, we are obviously listening. Those are the ones that I've bumped into more times than I really wanted to. But when you're dealing with herbicides, and especially with waterways, they come out of the woodwork. So those are the ones.
Is this where I tell you that during our last meeting we had a study done. So there was a survey done in 2005, which was created to make a 5-year plan, and the survey was done purely for how to treat the weeds in our ponds.
Mm-hmm.
So Ayer, I don't know if you had a chance to go online and look at a map of Ayer, but Ayer is a series. Ayer is a bunch of neighborhoods wrapped around ponds. So Long Pond runs down into a very large wetland area that runs into Sandy Pond, which runs into Flanagan's or Fletcher's Pond, depending upon who you ask. Pine Meadow Pond is a flooded meadow with a dam. Fletcher's or Flanagan's Pond is also a flooded meadow with a dam down here by the rotary that holds back the water for this entire area. And then that water then comes out, runs through this area through another wetland system, and then goes into Grove Pond, which goes to Plowshot Pond, which then runs out, and I always mess up, which one is this one? Nonoquakis, which then goes out and ties into the Nashua River. So
Easy.
all this happens, and everything from here to here happens because of a dam keeping this level up. There's a dam that keeps Long Pond level up, and then there's a dam that keeps Pine Meadow Pond level up. And I guess if I was being complete, there's a dam that holds Plowshot Pond up.
And every dam probably has a very strong proponent and a very strong detractor.
Well, I wish it was that tricky. No, we're lucky. No one has, quite frankly, no one has ever had anything bad or good to say about the dams, with the exception of the state, which has declared the Plowshot Pond Dam to be failed, and the Balch Pond Dam, which has been declared to be not mine by every organization that is supposed to own it, whether it's Mass Highway or the town. No, that's you guys. You guys have to fix it.
Nice.
The dam has a wheel, a set of gears, and that's as far as the control goes. And then down below is an area where boards are placed to actually make the dam what the dam is. And during the winter, the dam boards come out. Oh, excuse me, I forgot my language. Every winter, the boards come out of the dam with the intention of lowering the water level, both for to accommodate spring runoff, but also to drop the water to freeze the weeds around the outside edges, which has so far been an ambitious, but I don't think very efficacious plan every year. But
Intriguing though.
that's what we are. We are an awful lot of ponds, so we have a lot of homes on ponds, and we also just completed a new survey, which was relatively expensive, with the intention of being able to understand all of our stormwater impacts, our weeds, and other things that affect the health and safety of our ponds in our town. And so we do treatment of the ponds using herbicides.
Yeah, the
And-
first meeting I went to with Natick was the state presenting their treatment plans for Lake Kitchewit.
Kitchewit.
Kitchewit. Yeah, it's one of those words that.
Don't feel bad.
Yeah,
You'll
don't
pick
feel
that up.
bad.
Yeah, it's some word. Anyway, and there were people there whose only purpose, as far as I could tell, was to stir up fuss.
Yes.
And those are the people I was thinking of, with that comment.
Oh no, absolutely. In fact, I was actually so I like to fish on Lake Kitchewit, and
Well, that's why you know how to say it.
I do. Well, no, and also I grew up there. So I was there, I don't know, it had to be 5 years ago, and there were people actually protesting the use of the herbicides in the pond. And I was just amazed by it. But there were also, and they were complaining about well water. And I remember the article in the newspaper said they were complaining about well water, and which was astounding to me because Natick is off of Quabbin, as is Framingham. What the heck are they talking about?
There are properties, there are places within the system that are getting their water from wells that are off of, the sewers and the infrastructure of the town. They're off on their own.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they wouldn't have a hydraulic connection to the pond, because if they did, they couldn't have that well. Which is its own discussion.
And then you get into that gray area of, well, if the water tables are connected, therefore, and off it goes.
No,
Yeah.
I heard the discussion.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't want to tie you up too much longer. So, did you have anything else to ask us about? Oh, you were asking about the process.
Yeah.
Sure. So, at this point, the way that we've handled this in the past is we've met with applicants. We've discussed you roundly behind your back and openly, so you can actually go online and watch it. We typically then would reach back out to you about getting any references.
Although Brian's includes.
Are they included?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
already
here.
approved.
The one you can't use is
Florida.
Agri-Fresh. That place went out of business. It was a carbon forestry firm, and that was the summer that Congress decided not to do a carbon cap and trade. And the fellow who started the business was kind of betting on getting ahead of the legislation.
Didn't work, did it?
Although one of the people involved did move out to California to keep up with the carbon work. Because California's got their own program that we were selling the credits on the California market anyway. So that, you just have to take his word for it.
Charles Kirchner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is he still up in Vermont? Were you saying he
don't
went to?
know where he is. We've got a common friend, and I can track him down if I felt like it, but no, I don't know where he is anymore.
Well, at that point, if we decided to go forward, we would ask your permission. I guess this is just as good a time as any. Do you have permission to contact your references?
Yeah, other than Charles. Yeah.
Other than Charles, right? Well, unless we search him and find him, and we'll let you know where he is.
Oh, fair enough.
And then at that point, if we would get back to you probably before our August 27th hearing to let you know what we were thinking.
Yeah, that was the important thing in my head. It's like, all right, I should hear from you by, say, the 23rd or the 25th or the 19th or, whatever.
So,
No.
and I always turn because the calendar in my office is behind me to my left.
Can I ask one question while you're looking that up?
Sure.
Is when you led early detection outreach efforts for aquatic invasives, what did that entail?
It was a glorified version of a boat ramp monitor. The thing about that is that normally of effort.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, you've got a lake with 1 or 2 or 3 access points. You've got to monitor theoretically all 3.
Yeah.
Or you've got, you know, a system like this one where you've got several ponds. You've got one person at every pond, you know, and so you're taking care of watershed. I was in a reservoir that had 3 access points, and this was a milfoil. And basically, I would go to one ramp, do the boat inspection, but then do the education part as well, and say, hey, not only am I inspecting your boat, this is a really big deal. You need to keep your eye on it. Here's why, and do like the full spiel, because there was a network of reservoirs where the fishermen generally rotated. It was Green River, then down to Waterbury, and then sometimes up to Lake Champlain. And the problem was that Champlain was the dirtiest of the bunch and had infected Waterbury, and Green River was still clean. And the idea was to essentially try to keep the Green River clean and then not get Champlain and Waterbury. But this particular plant hadn't made it to Champlain yet. This was actually imported from New Hampshire. And so it was this funny two-way, I don't even know how to make a proper street analogy, because most of the fear was coming in, but the biggest fear was going out. And so I would be at one boat ramp or the other, you know, on alternate Saturdays kinds of things. It was a funding issue and it was a time issue and all that. But my boss never checked in with me the whole season. Like, this was just my job and off you go, you know.
Have you ever done water sampling part of this, or just
A little bit. The water sampling that I did had to do when I worked for the feds doing sea land rate control in Champlain. We did land-for-side treatments of entire rivers, and so during the land-for-side treatment, you're running vials back and forth to mobile chem lab to make sure that the concentration is consistent across the intended length of the river. You know, so you've got somebody driving samples back, you've got somebody running samples back, you've got somebody on an ATV, getting all your vehicles. And then we'd go after and we did the the unintended consequences float, looking for things that we shouldn't have killed that we did, or
And just one last thing.
Has to be
Your
exciting.
computer skills.
I can break them with the best of them.
Okay.
So I'm assuming this has a lot more to do with GIS than some of the other software.
It would be nice. No, it's sadly more about being able to maneuver your way across the internet, eventually concocting and creating a spreadsheet that allows you to track the applications we've had and go back and figure out how come we haven't heard from somebody in 7 years and where they ended with their project. And also, of course, your ability to write letters, et cetera, for our process.
Yeah, that I can switch. I like telling the stories about crashing computers and doing big GIS projects, but anyway. And then I suppose the other thing would be, you know, in the 19 or 19 and a half or however many hours,
19.79.
how is that envisioned to be spent in, like, you know, a theoretical week? So, like, let's say there's a Saturday, you know,
Sure.
there's, you know, an hour there, and then there's Thursdays attending meetings, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, is there an intended office hours on like a Monday or a Tuesday?
Yes.
You know?
So the idea is that you would have office hours potentially 2 days a week for a couple of hours a week that we would publish, whether it's a couple hours 2 days or a couple hours
About
1 day.
4 hours, 2 days a week.
Right, with the idea that folks can find you,
Right.
those hours. The other hours are yours to use for the meetings. So obviously, the nice part about the year is you can plan out right off the get-go. You can say, okay, during this week, I'm going to be in the office on Monday. I'm going to be in the office on Thursday. Thursday's a great day to be in the office because you have your meeting that night.
Right.
If you published your office hours for the afternoon, perfect. Take an hour off to go get a bite for dinner and then come in for our meeting here, however that works best for you. The idea being that you have specific accessible hours for the public If you're not going to be accessible for some reason, whether it's a dentist appointment or something else you can't miss, then we just ask that that gets listed, signed, posted. I won't be available that day, etc. And then the other hours of your week. So if you said that was 8 hours of your week, typically this meeting runs about 3 hours every other week. So there's 3 of the remaining hours, and then the other hours would be yours in the office. They're not
And
posted
field.
office hours. People will show up, or you'd be out in the field during those hours. But the long and the short of it is that we look for 2 4-hour days during the week where people can find you, and they know they can find you. After that, what's the trick of it? Late in the summer? Late what day? And no Friday afternoon? A town hall.
Oh, town hall is
Oh, late Tuesday.
late on Tuesdays, and then it closes at 1 on Fridays now.
Right.
They changed it so that they could keep it open on one evening a week for people who couldn't get in during the day. And
Yeah, that's not a
they
bad
cut
thing.
Friday back.
Cut
yeah.
Friday back and
Yeah.
stay late.
No, it's very, in fact, it's, it's great, helps out the people who can't make it here during the day for their business. They can come on Tuesday nights and gets everybody out of here early on the Fridays.
Whether you're behind the desk or in front of the desk, you want to be here on Friday.
That's right, that's right.
Yeah. Becky used to like Friday afternoons sometimes because nobody could get into the building to find her.
So there are benefits. I know one of the issues that Becky ran into was she was very personable and she was very helpful. And so people would come to her and they would engage her on things that they were trying to do or questions they might have. And she was too polite. And so, so there's goods and there's positives and negatives to all that. But she could find that, it would sometimes distract her from her charge or what she was trying to get done. And so she did find Friday afternoon to be very helpful. So I'd encourage the same thing, actually. It's probably a great way to deal with the fact that you got to come in, you got to get some things done. Maybe you need to prep for the meeting, et cetera, for the next week, whatever. Great way to do it and know that no one can disturb you. So
If this were feasibility, what days of the week would you be available?
I actually don't know. A lot of this has to do with the expected juggling of, hey honey, what's your schedule? And
Yeah.
hey honey, what's the daycare schedule? And sort of threading that needle, because my wife being an academic, every semester
Yeah.
shifts on her a little bit,
mm.
and so I don't actually know when she's teaching this term. I think she's doing a Monday-Thursday schedule, but that might have been last term too. It shifts every time. So I don't actually, have an honest answer for you at the moment. But everything's a little pliable. So I don't think it'd be too hard to figure that out.
Well, I can tell you if, we would be willing, don't personally picture any problem. We'd be willing to work with office hours that floated from term to term. Obviously, we want to keep as much continuity as possible.
Yeah.
But I don't think it would be the end of the world. I mean, I can imagine the complaints, but
theoretically, as long as everything's publicly posted and done so in a early enough manner, and you keep everything clean and honest and forthright. Yeah.
yes, that will work with the individuals who would be accepting them. So they won't be the ones complaining. So unless there's anything else.
I got some knotweed in my yard. What should I do?
Do you really?
Yeah.
But you're upland. You couldn't be more upland.
It grows everywhere.
Okay.
I would recommend getting online and buying a very expensive little tool. It's a glorified water gun with a needle on the end. And second, third week of September, when the flowers start to come down, get down on your hands and knees, and the stem is hollow and segmented. And in the first or the second segment, just unload glyphosate into it. Rodeo would be the brand name. That's a water-safe formulation. It doesn't necessarily matter because you're going to be on your own land, and because you're going to be injecting directly into the stem, you shouldn't be spilling it. But it's a great insurance policy in case, you turn out to trip over a rock or something. The lid wasn't all the way, that kind of thing.
Stab yourself in the leg.
Yeah.
Continue. That's where I saw this going.
Don't cut it down. Don't dig it up. So it doesn't properly have a root system, it has a rhizome system, which means they're underground stems. The stems, if you see every time it branches, those segments are nodes, and the nodes essentially are the seeds of the plant. And so you more or less can't get a new plant unless you break an old one. And then you're going to deal with the poisoning job for about 3 years. If you've got a lot of it, you want to keep track of your dosage, because when you take the solution from the bucket that you bought, wherever it is you buy it, and you pour it in, normally a backpack sprayer, you'd be diluting it to like a 3 to 5% active ingredient. If you pour it straight into the gun, you're going to have like a 50% active ingredient. So you can actually overdose an acre. It'll say, don't put more than 10 gallons of this on an acre of land. Not we can grow dense enough that, if you've got that much, you can actually overdose on the legalities. And then it'll die, it'll brown out. Give it some time to get brittle and ugly, and then if you want to clear it and remove it, you can.
Burn it.
If you want. However, chosen disposal. The point is that you want those nodes to be good and dead, because otherwise you're just going to move the plant somewhere else. The point of the injection is to get the poison down into the rhizome system. It's very, very deep and wide. The rhizomes can run 20 feet without coming up for air, so to speak. So lots of the mechanical, non-chemical approaches, people don't have the patience, they don't have the time, they don't have the attention. The stuff grows through concrete, it grows through foundations. It's nasty stuff, and so the poison approach, I wouldn't be this cavalier about it for many other species, but for we just give up on all the non-chemical approach, just poison. And then, so the goal of doing that is that you want, after it flowers, the plant begins the overwintering process of drawing nutrients out of the visible greenery down underground. So you want to draw the poison down with it. That's why you wait until after the flowering is over. And if you inject it any higher, because you've got such a high strength, high concentration of poison, if you might actually kill the plant before the poison drops down. You just burn it out, which is why you can't use a higher concentration in spray, because the leaves will just burn, and then you don't kill the roots. Too much.
No. In fact, did you know it's illegal to have any of this growing on your property in Australia?
No, but in Britain, they for a while there, they wouldn't give you a mortgage. So
If you had knotweed on your property?
Yep, they would just stop the financial process outright.
So this is the stuff that almost seems like bamboo.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we actually see this quite a bit.
Yeah, and the other thing too is that there's a very good chance it increases and encourages erosion during and after spring flooding, big rainfall events. That's something I can't speak to any particular facts about. That's all just personal observation of very unusual situations that it really, really looks like knotweed and erosion go hand in hand.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Anything you can do with it at all?
You can eat it. You can brew beer with it. In the spring,
Start
when it's
over.
not asparagus
So
size.
why was what was the? Okay, so it's an invasive, but if you can eat it, and apparently their flowers are valued by some beekeepers as an important source of honey.
Yep, it's the latest bloom in the season, essentially. And so the beekeepers are fond of it for obvious reasons.
Edible as a spring vegetable, flavor similar to extremely sour rhubarb.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah. But
Huh.
only when it gets about asparagus height. You know, when it gets taller than that, the flavor gets a little too sharp. Doesn't really work out. It's that young, tender leaf, in a sense. But this stuff grows ridiculously. If you happen to have the inclination, I would check with your roads people and see how they treat it, because one of the big reasons that it spreads is that the highway people cut it down because they'll go to 15 feet for their sight lines, and they just cut it down and leave it, and it blows down the river, it rolls down the river, it blows down the road, and that's how you get your new populations, especially at the crossings of one or the other. So, you know.
Wow. So that was really fascinating. Thank you. No, I mean it. I mean it. We're always excited to learn new things.
Yeah, not weed I could tell you about. Yeah, all sorts of little tidbits. The thing about Australia, though, honestly, I didn't know that one. I hadn't bumped up against that fact.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
So, you know, touche. I've also learned something new about knotweed tonight.
There you go, huh? There you go. Well, and someday we'll talk about what asparagus really looks like. You ever noticed? Have you seen it grow?
Asparagus?
Yeah. I'd never seen asparagus. I saw it in the grocery store. I'd never seen what happens to asparagus after you've let it mature too far. It was very interesting. You've seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was astounded. It was like, that's asparagus. I was like, no, it's not. Good, yeah, it is. I was like, no, it's not.
I feel the same way about broccoli, actually.
Yeah.
Now we're just off topic.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway.
Brian, thank you very much
Thank
for coming
you.
in to meet us tonight. And we'll be in touch one way or the other.
Yeah, you said late-ish.
Oh, and I
on the
started,
20th.
I did. I started to,
You
I
said
actually went to,
27th is the meeting, the
calendar.
making up your mind meeting?
yes. So if we had any other further questions or anything, we'll be back to you by the 21st, which is next Friday.
Brilliant.
So.
Excellent. Well,
We
have
move
fun
quickly.
and enjoy the rest of the evening.
Thank you very much. You as
Thank you,
well.
Brian.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
All right. So why don't we blitz through our office updates?
ZBA reviews, we've got a bunch.
Really?
Yeah.
Tells you people are starting to build again, huh?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the first one is a special permit request, conversion of a single-family dwelling. Would you be so kind as to open your map, sir, as I ask you about 84A Groton School Road. Groton School Road, we have the stream.
I think Ruth Ayers was 82.
Yeah. This is for Antonella Boucher. Purchase of property, understanding the structure was a permitted two-family home, was determined it was not permitted to be a second unit by the building department. This is for a special permit to allow it. Okay. I don't recognize that house. Oops, sorry.
No.
Neither do I. It says Groton School Road. I don't recognize that house at all. Let's see. Groton School Road, Robert J. McBride. Walsh. Patricia Walsh. So it's off the road over there. Okay, that makes sense. Yes, it certainly does. Okay.
Did she have living in the basement?
So it says here's Groton School Road. Here is the estate of Robert J. McBride, and you know what that is? I think that's the parcel that got developed into Pheasant Run. I think this was that parcel in behind.
Mm-hmm.
But it can't be because Ruth Ayers in between.
Yeah.
Well, I guess now I'm not sure. says parcels 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 owned by Michael A. and Patricia Walsh are to be combined with parcels 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A owned by James G. and Judith Summers respectively to form 5 undivided lots.
This must be the road into Walsh, so Ruthie would be right there.
Yeah, but it says now or formerly estate of Robert J. McBride.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's the date on this? 78. Yeah. Okay, so this is Ruthier.
Mhm.
So this is where that Ruthier property was. Yeah, and that's the dirt road. And according to this, all these are put together. Interesting. Okay. And as you would expect, Pete Johnston was on the commission in 1978, as was Harriet Maxent
Frank's mother.
and Maurice McDonald. No guess there. Okay. So, knowing what we know, this is a wetland over here, for sure. In fact, it's a stream. So the only real question is there going to be any construction? I think this is just to allow the conversion. Based on what it says for the conversion from a single, to authorize the conversion of a single-family dwelling into a two-family dwelling on an existing non-conforming lot within the A1 district. Okay. So my comment would be approved with the note that if there's any construction or changes to the building, that they would need to be reviewed.
Building or what?
Well, I'm assuming building, because the only thing she's talking about is changing the building.
You may want to widen the driveway or something.
Good one. Any other thoughts?
Yep.
You, miss?
That sounds good.
Okay. I saw you nodding your head. So.
She's nodding off.
$14? $13? $13.
13.
Okay. Tell you what, while I check the next one, or get set to check the next one, why don't you tell us about recent erosion control inspections?
Okay. Recent erosion control inspections, what did we do? Kohler Place, Bill and I
Ah, yes.
did Kohler Place on
Saturday.
Saturday, August 1st,
Yes, 2 weeks ago.
shortly after packing up the office, which is now boasting a new carpet, which is happily off-gassing.
Thanks.
And that's not going to stop. They're doing the rest of the floor tomorrow, so won't be able to go in tomorrow.
For the highs? What?
Just to get through all the stuff from the
I
offices.
see.
So that was done. Then we also did Catania Spagna. And same day. That was approved, but Bill had noted there's a lot of oil material in the gravel alongside the tracks. Did you ever hear from any?
He wrote back just to tell me that there was some spillage that occurred during the work. I just figured once they get started, we'll get more into it. The long story short is that there's a coating on the stone along the edge of the train cars, which I didn't remember being there, which in a way makes sense. They take oil out of those train cars. However, it's vegetable oil.
Yeah.
So I found it hard to be concerned about it as a product, but then I also thought to myself, well, hold on a second. They offload these cars how often? How much oil are we talking about? So I asked them about it, and they said that, yeah, there was some spillage, but that they had a process, et cetera, et cetera. So what I was actually more interested in is when the...
And that's what it looked like.
There we go.
Yeah.
So I was much more interested in is getting information about once the structure is closed over, what's going to happen then?
Yeah.
Because there's no drains planned.
Yeah,
So
so it was not petroleum based.
it's not petroleum based.
I taste it.
Actually, I sniffed it. I thought about tasting it.
Okay, so that's the erosion inspections. Kohler Place there, as of today, they've started dramatically changing the landscape. A lot of trees went down.
Good.
Mhm.
It's the only way to build stuff.
Yeah.
Unless you're going tree houses.
So they are underway. Recent site complaints? Should we talk about those?
Complaints?
Yeah, we've had a couple.
Oh. I thought you were talking about Kohler Place.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry. You shifted.
Okay.
This is for Family Dollar sign height and square foot variance request. At first I was afraid it was a sign out by the street. It's not. It's the signs on the front of the building. So I have no comment. Okay, so we had a couple different situations. The first one was there was a concern lodged regarding soil in a pile over at the Willows in the area where the buildings were going to be. There was a washout area. I copied you guys in the email. Jess and I went and took a quick look at it. The washout area is probably about as good an area to have a washout as is possible. No issue with it whatsoever. Spoke to it. There's a stump pile there. There was a suggestion raised that the stumps in the stump pile were going to be buried on site and cause a problem. I indicated that from what we saw there were no stumps being buried. There were no stumps planned to be buried. There were just stumps being stored there.
Mm-hmm.
Passed on our concerns to the applicant's consultant, Shang Wang, and I always forget her name, Mary Trudeau.
And he forwarded it
Mary Ann
on
or
to
Mary?
Mary Trudeau,
Mary.
who included mention of it in her
Mary Ann DePinto. That's not together.
included mention of it in her weekly site inspection. Interestingly, I'll let you read it at page 3.
During the work week, I received an email writer from Air Conservation Commission expressed concern with the condition of a silt fence check dam within the footprint. Based on the concerns expressed, contractor responded repairing the check dam. However, the check dam is not part of the current erosion and sedimentation control barrier. It was set as a temporary limited work line fence for filling work in the vicinity. Great. The approved grading plan for the site shows grading well beyond this temporary check dam, and currently an erosion control barrier is set and is being maintained to the east of the area of concern. So we couldn't see the other check dam because it was in behind all the shrubs and cattails, etc. So we had no issue. Thank you. We had no issue with where they're washing out concrete trucks there, etc. It's literally in somewhat of a bowl. It's a perfect place for that application. So Mr. Brown indicated that he would hope that the applicant would stop what they were doing, and I indicated that the area is under a notice of intent, and that so long as it's a construction site under a notice of intent, that the applicant wasn't doing anything inappropriate, and that it's probably the best place to maintain a washout.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think part of the concern was, I think some of the stuff being moved there is from Willow Road where they're building the 2 houses.
right, which is
And I believe, isn't the condo association ad hoc only at this point?
right. So Mr. Brown and others were talking about their concerns for the future, and they're certainly valid, but there's nothing to show that that's what they're planning to do there. They're not burying the stumps. There was no excavator over there. There were stumps piled. That's all. So Mr. Brown was worried that they would stay, and I guess the most appropriate thing to say, which is what I was trying to get at, is that as long as the contractor is the owner and is operating as a construction site, then that's what it is. So There will be stumps, there will be washout, there will be dirt piles, etc. And since none of those things were affecting the wetland resource. The other comments that came in, we did receive an email from Robert Hudland. You may remember the property over on Ledgeway, where the building down at the end of Ledgeway, we had an applicant who wanted to tear down the building and build a new house. There was a concerted effort to prevent that from happening, both through our meeting process and appeal of our decision, and then a lawsuit either lodged or threatened with regard to a zoning part of the process. So I received the email that talked about changes about the project. I indicated that the order of conditions was voted on and approved in a series of public hearings, that the new application is very different than the application that they had actually appealed, and that I was hoping, basically that they would probably know more about this application than anyone else. They had been involved in it in such a way. They asked us about site visits. I said that we don't do prescriptive site visits, that the work is done based upon the initial installation of the hay bales, and then we are pending the request for a certificate of compliance. I did, however, note that I have been to the site many times. I was there in the spring. I was there when the concrete was poured, right after the concrete was poured, and I was there on Saturday, August 1st. Interestingly, Noah and I popped down there after we did the site walk at Kohler Place.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually went inside. The letter came out after that, but I went inside. I talked to John Giamo.
Yeah.
I spoke to Mr. Giamo and just told him that we were going to walk around outside and take a peek. A lady was outside who I believe is the new owner. She was very nice. She said, sure, walk around. The water's in great shape. There's no evidence that the soils or the materials from the house have gone anywhere that they're not supposed to. And everything looked like it was being well taken care of and well maintained. So I noted that in the email that everything was in good shape. They asked for the notice of intent and the order of conditions. I indicated that they had actually received our draft order from the first application in hand during our January 16, 2014 meeting. I said, though, that we would get them a request for the final order. Had you...
When Mr. Hudlin came in on Wednesday, August 5th, I printed out a copy on the spot for him.
Thank you very, very much. So we answered that request for the Mr. Hudlin. Can't say the Hudlins. I did indicate that if they wished to be present on our August 27th agenda, that they needed to let us know a little later than 8:13. I did not want to have conversations about the application or the applicant without the applicant being present. Didn't seem appropriate. So I did, as I was going through it, I copied JP Conley, whose email bounced back. So I don't know if he's not at GPR anymore. Any experience?
No, don't know.
So anyway, so Hudland, Willows, and then now this one, which I was not familiar with, just came in today from Harry Zane.
Yeah, now on that, this is in reference to 6 Wright Road, that property.
First house on the left with the
and
ski jump.
I confess, I sort of let that one slide. I was away for a number of days when I think they started doing their work. When I came back to town, I had family with me, and it looked like the worst had been done. And I was going to mention it at our last meeting, but we were doing the geosyntech thing, and it slipped my mind. So, mea culpa. So I did write to Mr. Zane this morning. He responded this afternoon.
So did they do clearing of the wetland?
Doesn't look it. When I drove by this afternoon, there's a whole bush line, and they had a wattle line right there until they got their grass in, which was pretty much what they'd started doing when I got back. unless they put up a whole line of mature bushes that are all grown into each other, those are the original bushes.
So what I'm getting from this is that Mr. Zane is disappointed that they did not ask for permission.
Right, and they
Did their
should've.
work, used a commercial grade excavator?
Did see when I drove in, there was still a piece of equipment on the site. It's no longer there. As I say, I was out in New York State for about a week.
Hasn't seen any bears since last year, but he stopped putting out birdseed. Good thinking. Okay. And you wrote back and said, yep, you're absolutely right, they should have come back to us. Okay.
So the question is, should we issue a violation notice, or?
Did you, so,
I am not good at this sort of stuff. This is why we need somebody.
I guess the real question is, did you see a machine down there? You did see a machine?
Yeah.
Okay, so we need to issue a violation and
Okay.
ask them to attend our next meeting so we can talk to them about the work that happened.
Okay.
And if there's a machine on site, we should be issuing a cease and desist as part of the violation.
Yeah, it looks like everything's all done. There's nothing happening anymore.
Everything's all done that we're
That we
aware
know.
of.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Former fire station conversion project?
So if I draw that up,
Still touching this? I knew it. Go ahead.
so if I draw up a draft of that on Monday,
Just email it.
email to you and you can,
We'll go from there.
okay.
Is GS Holdings George Bacon? Is Ash your middle name?
No.
So are you part of this?
No.
Okay.
What is that?
Work on the old fire station. Insufficient off-street parking to allow residential use on street level in the downtown. So someone's going to live in the fire department, in the firehouse?
Yeah.
That's awful interesting. Proposer proposes, I don't like the way that sounds. The proposer proposes to restore, refurbish, and renovate the building to convert it to use as a multi-family residential dwelling containing 6 to 8 two-bedroom units. 6 to 8?
Mhm.
Doesn't seem big enough. My goodness. Because the building is historically and culturally significant and represents an architectural style important to the community, the facade will remain unchanged except for improvements on the end where they built the big garage for the truck, which I'm hoping is what this is really going to say. Firehouse doors replaced with new reproduction doors fitted with exterior entry doors for the apartments. Have you been to Fuse in downtown Lowell?
Yeah.
To what?
Fuse. It's right next to Life Alive. You can't tell me you haven't been there.
I've been to Life Alive.
So if you came out of Life Alive and took a right, and then you went around the corner, which you actually can't do with your vehicle because it's a one-way, but if you were walking, Fuse is a restaurant on the corner, and they have these amazing, like 14-foot tall garage doors because it was the old doors for the fire department, and they open one up for when they're in business, and food is amazing. It's really cool. All right, 6 to 8 two-bedroom residential dwellings, 800 to 1,000 square feet. I think there's 8,000 square feet there. I can't picture that.
No.
Did you ever walk in through?
No. And it,
I can't
never
picture.
been.
I can't imagine. Okay. Well, as it turns out, unless any of you have any issue about conservation in that area, which I don't, I can't imagine there's any. So, it does strike me that we have 2 of these in a year, and then we have 4 in a week. Any idea? 5 in a week.
Are these zoning boards more active, or?
I don't know. Okay, so we talked about erosion control,
Also possible Becky did a lot of them.
site complaints, without showing, what?
I don't know.
All right.
She may have filtered many.
No,
No,
really?
maybe. Trained that she was.
Yeah, I'll text her after.
No.
All right.
But don't quote me. I don't
Okay, this one is for Air Shop and Save sign. I assume it's very similar to the last one. For those who remember, Air Shop and Save is on the property where we decided we did not have an interest because it's the old
Oh.
Hanfords.
Right.
Remember we did the ANRAD
Yeah.
for Hanfords. Remember that?
Back
No.
in 2011.
Yeah,
I
we did a
wasn't
walk on
there.
the property to figure out
Welcome.
if
I
the
wasn't there.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out if that was a wetland or an isolated wetland. It's an isolated wetland, and in fact, it's more of a pocket that was built because they were doing 2 parking lots and they left the hole. Anyway, okay. Let me just see what it's about. It's for a much bigger sign. And has anybody been by? They've redone the front, new steel.
Still working
and-
on it.
Yeah. So, interesting. Okay. I can't imagine there's any reason to have a comment. Okay. Community preservation. Do you have any, actually, do you want to do office updates?
Don't you? Wasn't there one more right there?
I know, I'm doing it.
Okay.
I can do that and do this.
Well, a few other things. We did receive, just on record, a anonymous phone call reporting a massive erosion breach in Pingree Hill. Sounded like,
Pingree Hill?
yeah, in the,
I thought it was Willows.
oh, this is a different anonymous phone call.
I see.
Probably in the vicinity of Old Farm Way and Holly Ridge. This was, the phone call came in probably within a half hour after that enormous downpour we had last Tuesday.
Sure.
So I emailed DeShane. He looked at it, or he contacted the developer, and he just had them redo things and buttress up some things. But it wasn't, I had actually driven down there just to look at where Holly Ridge came down to Old Farm Way.
Which one's which, Anna? Which, Holly Ridge is,
It's the new area, that's those 2 lots around the corner from the Anudas.
yeah.
That's that whole new.
Oh, the new
Yeah.
area. It's been paved, but there was a lot of open,
Yeah.
exposed soil
Yeah,
in
and
the
there had been
yards.
some stuff that came down, but
Sure,
not,
sure,
not
sure,
as
sure.
much as I
I got
thought
it, I
would
got
have.
it.
But it was a really nasty rain,
Was.
so.
How bad was the mess?
Not that bad.
Okay.
And actually, I didn't see anything further down in front of the Anuda's house.
Good. So coming in from the road, you didn't see a mess.
Right.
I got you.
And then,
This one, just so you know, is a public hearing regarding the application by Calco on 22 West Main Street in Ayer. They want to do warehousing and interior storage. So I guess the real question is, military. So this suggests that it's an existing building. All right, well, it's Calco, so I'm assuming that's Calvin. I can't tell now.
What's the address on that?
22 West Main Street.
This is 215.
Oh, I wonder if the applicant is 22 West Main, so it's more lumber.
Yeah.
Special permit is required for the use category of warehousing and interior storage within the general business zoning district for the proposed self-storage development. Okay, so it's more self-storage, but apparently on the other side of the road. I have no idea where it is with regard to this building. I don't know if this is on the same side.
I
Can't be with the.
I believe 211 is the former video rental store that was had contamination issues.
Oh, you know what? So I wonder if this is the gas station.
Uh-huh.
And look, sewer pump station with fence.
Mhm.
Oh, very good, very good. There we go. Okay. And it would have to be over here because there's the Boston and Maine Railroad. So this is the area where he's been storing dirt. Got it. Okay. So, actually, there's no issue with the special permit for the category, but there would obviously be an application. So, my comment would be approved because all he's asking for is a special permit, so it's approved. Any future work would require review by the commission. Make sense? Okay,
Did you write that out?
that's what I've been
Oh, you're
doing.
about to.
I'm killing myself here.
Okay.
Handwriting.
So you want me to continue with another?
Yes, go ahead.
Groton Air, the Four Corners sewage extension they call the office, Ryan Algrove. And to find out what they need to do, because they're doing the sewer extension along Westford Road that will tie into Air's system.
Wait, start over. The
The Groton Air Four Corners area, Groton's going to be tying into
So
the,
your others?
this was talked about a couple of years ago, I think it was mentioned, or a year ago.
I remember there were discussions about it, but
So they're going to be,
It was in the paper today.
you got a paper?
Lowell
Which?
Sun.
Oh, Lowell Sun. So,
yeah. So they're going to be putting a sewer utility.
oh, over by Shaw's.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got,
Westford
sorry,
Road.
I was
Yeah.
on the wrong side.
Oh, okay. So he wanted to know what Air would need. He'd spoken to Takashi. Groton needs an RDA, right?
Letting them off easy. So, I don't think there's anything over there. Not where they are. On the other side of the road, maybe, where the old restaurant used to be.
There. What do you mean? There's nothing over there in terms of wetlands? Or?
Yeah.
They had it flagged by the wetland scientist who found one wet area, I believe, on the other side of the road from where I think it's Loon Hill or the road that serves.
Robbins Hill, right?
No,
that's the other end. You're right.
Crabtree.
No, it's the
Pondview Estates or whatever that.
Yeah.
where
all the
that-
way down there,
I think.
By the pig farm.
No, I'm sorry. No, you're right. It's
where
where the
what's his name developed.
Molten.
developed.
Yeah.
So
Molten's Groton development.
behind Shaw's, it
Yeah.
curls around
Right.
behind Shaw's.
Robin Hill.
That's what I said, but he said no.
I'm sorry.
I thought it was
2-1.
Anyway, so their wetland science found something that would put the work to put the sewer pipe in the road within 100-foot buffer zone.
okay. All right. And did you agree with him, or did you find it to be an isolated wetland?
They haven't come to us with anything yet,
Okay,
but I suggested that they file an RDA.
it's very kind of you. So my guess would be that as they travel down the road after that spot, you've got development on both sides. I don't think there's anything.
And substation,
Right.
Yeah,
on,
I'm not sure.
on the left there.
right.
I can't remember. Where's the sign? Where's the break? Shanklin and Shanklin Music Hall. That's
Yeah.
Air, right? That's
Yes.
not Groton.
Correct.
So I guess I'm not sure where the sign is. Not 100% anyway.
So if they've had it flagged, shouldn't we just say if you find any wetlands, then let us know? But
We
if
should
you-
probably indicate that they should piggyback the RDA for both towns if they find that it's within 100 feet of the Air property.
Yeah, I did tell them that if they did have wetlands, we would need an RDA.
So, but where are they connecting in there? Because
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, how far do you think they're going to go down?
I don't
guess
know.
that's a very good point. Are they running all the way down the road?
Yeah.
Well, they would have to tie into some kind of pumping station, right?
Well, it depends. So it really depends on, based on the fact that it's gravity sewer in that area most likely, there's probably a lot of sewer in that area that travels down into pumping stations that, the big pumping station that we saw by Catania Spania.
Yeah, that's resource areas. So I mean, they would have to file for that.
Well, it depends on where they tie in.
Yeah,
So-
right, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Right, so if this is the Shaw's, the road comes down here and there's a pipe high enough here and they can get high enough to hit it, they could hit that pipe and it would run down into where the pumping station is. Wouldn't even affect them. But it would mean that their pipe had to stay at a high elevation depending upon what all that was.
Mhm.
If they in fact do have to run all the way down the road and tie into Catania Spania, well, that's its own kettle of fish. So the real question is,
Yeah.
on Takashi's side of the town line in
Mhm.
Groton, that 100-foot buffer from that area would be an RDA. For our side, what they need to do is come up with a plan for where they're going to tie in, and then they would need to have someone look at that with them to tell them whether they need to file or not.
Okay.
So if they're tying in within 5 feet of the town line, probably going to be just fine. If they have to come all the way down to Catania Spania, it's a whole big deal.
Okay. Have someone
It's
evaluate if they need to
And if
file.
they're within the road, then it's not a big deal.
No, you're absolutely right. That part of the project wouldn't matter. But if they then had to travel down the hill to get to Catania Spania,
Right,
that would be a big deal. Because remember that the whole pond is right there.
yeah.
So,
Okay, so I'll get more information.
absolutely. Well, actually, I think that, and I say this as delicately as possible, I think they should get more information because,
Well, I will, yeah, I will tell them that we need more information.
right,
Yeah,
we can't speak to
yeah.
the nature of their filing unless
So-
they can speak to the nature of their job.
True, except that under the old regulations, but more so under the new regulations, utility work is exempt from review. Groton has a bylaw that doesn't have that same leeway in
Yeah.
terms of exempting that. We don't have,
Yeah,
have that in
I
air.
was also wondering if
So-
that was a little factor.
So that's really the difference is whether.
But
Well,
are
That's
they,
interesting.
New utility work.
Yeah, so, right.
and would it be in the roadway or to the side of the roadway?
What's that?
Would it be in the roadway or to the side of the roadway?
If it's within the right of way,
Okay.
you know,
Well,
it's,
I'll put it this way.
Hmm.
I agree with you right up to the part where I don't know what they're doing.
right.
So that's number one. And then the other part is that, interestingly, our own town came to us to do work at that sewer pumping station.
Mhm.
So under the example you just gave, they would have been exempt. But I'm not comfortable with exempting.
It's, no, so the type of work that's exempt would be, generally speaking, maintenance,
Mhm.
utility maintenance within the road or the road right of way that is sort of altered.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Previously altered area,
Right.
except this wouldn't be maintenance. And if they had to come off the road, then
Mhm.
that would be a whole
Right,
different thing.
and so not every town handles that the same way, and so that's
Like ours.
that's where the question comes in.
It seems to me that they were expecting to have to file an RDA with us.
All right, so hold on a
Or
second.
something.
So the only thing that drives me nuts about this, if we were
Right.
doing this in my office,
Right.
I already would have said, Baba Ganoush, we don't know anything about what they're
Yeah.
planning to do. They need to show up with a freaking plan before we can tell
Yeah.
them what they need to do. And now I'm mad at
Okay.
them for not sending you something and for just asking you willy-nilly what we're supposed to do. Jackasses.
This is why we need somebody.
File an idea and you always just give them negative determination.
Right.
Yeah, it's already negative. Tell them it's already negative.
Positive.
Positive.
No, I'm negative,
Oh.
but the determination will be positive. No, it bothers me when people say that. What do we need to do? I don't know. What are you doing?
Okay, well, got it. So on that one, for our next agenda, we do have an application from Bonnie Tillotson expressing interest in being our 5th commissioner.
I saw that.
So I shall put her on our agenda for an interview.
That's wonderful.
Kindly retain your copies of the letters for the next meeting.
I don't know if that's green folder, I might lose it.
Mm-hmm. Those green folders have to come back with me.
How does that even make sense? You gave them to us.
I usually empty the contents, but I had to run upstairs to get my pens.
Thank you.
Okay, we haven't talked about, did you ever get back to Lily Wilson?
No, I didn't.
And she never got back to us.
No, she didn't.
So,
Put that off for another meeting.
okay. And then the last one to
You want?
get advice is we got a phone call from one of our elderly residents, Sheila Slarsky. She is wants to do a new gas connection from her house to National Grid line out in front in the street. And National Grid, which has already billed her for the work that they had not yet done, suddenly told her, oh, she needs to get an environmental permit from us. So she's on Shirley Street. You know where the Jersey barriers are? Because they closed off.
Past St. Mary's Church, past Ayer Kitty Depot, heading down the hill,
Yeah,
Jersey Barriers. You have to make that right
Yeah.
turn where the house burned down.
Oh yeah.
So her
yeah.
house is literally
That's Shirley Street?
Yeah,
Yeah.
parallels West Main.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
So her house is right there. She wants to put, if you're on the street facing it, Nonokoikis Brook is right here.
Yeah.
And she's lived here all her life, but she knows it just as the brook. She
I
didn't
see.
know it had a name. And then the gas line would be on the other side of the house.
Okay, so if I were to come down from the church, I'd go back past the Kitty Depot and the house that had burned on the right there.
Right.
I go past the white duplex that I actually almost bought. Keep going. They have a little garage behind the house, right? They have a garage that's off the house, separate garage, and it's on the stream. Cross the stream. She's that house?
No,
Yeah.
I think she's.
That's not what you described at all.
Oh.
All right, so there's West Main.
Yeah.
There's Shirley. There's the yeah. That's exactly what I said.
Jersey barriers are about
Right.
right here.
So this is the white duplex. That's their
that's Union Street. Right
yeah,
there.
their unattached garage. Brooke, she's this house.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So she had no idea what to do.
Okay, sure.
So I contacted Takashi, said it would be an RDA.
I would agree.
I've done a sort of draft one because she's the sort of resident who I think would need help from me now.
That is the whole point of what we were trying to accomplish.
Right. So and I went down there today and just did some basic measurements. So this is a sort of draft.
That was very kind of you.
Actually got pictures of her online. It was sort of fun. Of her deed because she bought that. She's been in that house in her ownership since 1967. So under the one of those sections, she is pre-1996 clearly. So
Single family house and a lot recorded on her before 1996. Although we can all agree that 1967 really wasn't all that long ago. This is your part. Step up.
Sorry, I was listening.
This seems filled out pretty much perfectly. The only thing that's missing,
I think we need
unless I missed
something-
it, is a plan.
plan from the National Grid.
Yeah, just some kind of detail as to what
Yeah.
where they're planning to go and what they're planning to do.
And how deep?
Well, it's a gas line, so I'm assuming they're going to do it per code.
Now I did go.
What does code say?
Actually, in this case, believe it or not, I think gas line is only 30 inches, the same as
Yeah.
you actually have to go deeper for water and electrical than you have to go for gas.
Yeah.
But I'd be interested to find out from that. I do know this much, that recommendation is 36, which again seems funny, right? Why wouldn't it be 4 feet? Why wouldn't it be below frost? But it's not.
Yeah.
I do know that we were on a site one day,
Yeah.
and the guy put a shovel in the ground to start digging and hit the gas line at 8 inches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even got the whole shovel all the way in the ground, the gas line.
I was looking at
You're not always
it.
careful.
Yeah, I found mine in my yard. I thought it was a tree root.
Oh my goodness, cut it out. Oh, wow.
And if she came out from
Oh, wow.
the side of her house, it would seem to me it would probably have to go like that and then to the side to avoid this mounded tree. So it'd probably go just
Oh, it'll have to if she doesn't want the tree to
little-
die.
right. So
She better be standing in front of the tree when they're doing
mhm.
Yeah, she had actually camped out in order to prevent them from ruining her tree.
So we need from her, from National Grid, just
Just need a dashed line on the plan.
a dash line.
In fact, here, have them make a dashed line on the plan
Okay.
in blood.
Okay. And so then she's good to go.
It's good to go.
Okay. So I will handle that.
I'm very
And-
worried about her tree now.
So the last order, that's it for me on my on that stuff.
Official duties?
Yeah. So the last thing would be, what do we want to do on
I never put that together, official and office. That's interesting, right?
official? Yeah.
Official are the duties of the office.
Yeah.
You ever think of that way?
it. No.
Neither did I. You?
Of course.
Think I'm on the subject.
That's where the word comes from. What do you?
Never hit me until just this moment. Well, these are so exciting. Anyway,
So, do we want to talk any further about
applicant?
the applicant?
Absolutely, absolutely. Try and hide your excitement about the idea of an applicant coming in and taking over. Let's think of him as an applicant first.
By the way, the office is unpacked after looking quite nifty.
Didn't I say just leave it for the applicant? All right, so
How to make somebody go running, screaming out the door before.
just tell them what video games are appropriate.
I do think with a well-ordered office, somebody can come in and do a lot more field work to keep up on that stuff.
Well,
That's my thought.
and I also want to stipulate that 2 to 3 hours a week will be spent in a certain specific way in that office for the first year,
Yeah.
getting caught up on things, scanning things in, throwing all that paper away, all the records,
Those
everything
huge
chopped.
rolls. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Gone, gone,
Yeah.
gone, gone.
God.
Okay. So, did you have an opinion of Brian as an agent, administrator?
I'm biased
I see.
personally.
All right, you're gonna have to go last then.
I have to go last.
George.
I think he's got the personality for it. I don't know if he'll have the patience for it. He's going to be a learning curve.
There is, and I was worried about the same thing. I think the good news is that if he's got the experience with flagging, that figuring out the soils is really, it's paint by numbers.
Yeah.
Pull out the soil, compare it to the picture in the book. So I'm less worried about that as well, and I think he can take a class and figure that one out in a heartbeat. But I share your concern and think that he may find it very boring. But then again, he may choose to dig
Yeah.
into people's, into projects that are underway and make our lives much more exciting. So,
The one thing that
If it's
has
between that and going home to his kids.
kid.
so far, you know how that worked with Becky. The thing that when I first looked at his resume was when we were talking with Geosyntec and the issue of we have to get a water testing
Sure.
program going and all this stuff that someone needs to do in town or at least oversee or coordinate,
Get started.
get started if we were to follow through on some of those recommendations, and that could be something that somebody with his qualifications might find of interest.
Sure.
At 27 hours or 30 hours. I mean, if the town wants our person to take on that other stuff, they need to
Well, now there has been,
buck up. And,
I know you like to say that we were told never would we have more than 19 hours.
We were.
Right.
It was
But
there.
that was then though, and this is
if
now.
it's a position that also then
Yeah,
benefits, the
at the-
DPW,
At the
and, you know,
meeting, yeah,
yeah, so.
at the meeting where you unsuccessfully were told I could never get paid ever.
I was very
Um,
successfully told you could never get paid.
Right.
There's nothing unsuccessful about that. That was-
What,
Sorry, I missed that one.
what the town administrator had said at the same meeting was that the Board of Selectmen needs to think how to make this position more attractive, which might,
Agreed.
at our open space and recreation plan meeting the other night, he said something along the same lines, that, you know, we've been working with a lot of due diligence to find somebody, and the town has to rethink. And if there's, I also have heard rumors that various aspects of, may have been resolved with former occupants up there. But I know that, I mean, Robert
know
has
what that
mentioned, Robert has mentioned there might be some occasions where they might start trying to go back to the idea of a planner and be creative with other things. At our last Open Space and Recreation Committee meeting as well, this thought went through my mind. The chair of the committee, Ms. Sudemeyer, was pointing to the fact that the last time we did an OSRP plan, there was absolutely no implementation, and that Robert was like, because he came to the meeting and he was like, yeah, you know, maybe the town needs to also invest in, you know, providing staff for implementing that. And so I look at this as potentially a position that might be subject to some change down the road into a more attractive, say, benefit
Right.
position.
So
won't
I would
guarantee
say
it.
3 things about that. Number 1, you can't even mention it because we have no idea of it
Right.
coming. We don't want to give the suggestion it will happen, and we
Right.
were told point blank it will not happen. So there's that.
Yeah, that was a different Board of Selectmen. though.
It doesn't matter. That's what was agreed to with the personnel board. So unless we
Yeah.
revisit and go back entirely with the personnel board,
Yeah,
it's all done. However, there is the opportunity to research that and find out if there's any more opportunity. At the same time, we also have to recognize that the person who came before us tonight sounds like the 20 hours a week is just what he wants,
yeah,
because he may not have time to do more,
right.
especially if, you know, he's got co-parenting and
Mhm.
and
And benefits through his wife, so. yeah.
sure. So I don't know that. So for some applicants that
Yeah.
might be a big deal, and for other applicants it
Right.
may not be.
So, but back to not necessarily doing water quality testing, which would be like 27 hours, as you said, but it's
71.
right.
But setting up the program
Setting
so
up
that
the program,
how it gets done, where it gets
coordinating,
sent.
yeah.
Right.
So it might be something that would be of interest to
It'd be
somebody
especially
like him.
interesting to find out if there was some way to do the testing here in town.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, you know, I'm not suggesting we get our own centrifuge. That'd be really cool. But, you know,
Well,
Surplus from
the-
Korea.
the lab that most
extra
people,
ones from Iran.
the lab that most people use around here is in town. So.
Which one?
Neshoba Analytical. Oh, Willow Road.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. Remember when we did this the last time? They had us go to what was the lab in
Chelmsford?
Maybe
yeah,
maybe they're
all
not
the way
in
over
Neshoba,
on the Westford Chelmsford line.
Hmm.
I remember I had to drive the samples over there.
Hmm.
Where did we take them from? Oh, it was the was it samples after the we did the water treatment, and we were concerned about at the beach, and so we took the samples and took them all the way to that lab.
Yeah.
I remember doing it.
Vaguely remember it.
Yeah, I remember doing it because I had to go that way, and it's now my favorite back roadway when the highway's jammed up. Anyway,
I don't know. It could be that the lab in there doesn't necessarily do all the
doesn't
stuff.
do
That,
it.
yeah, I don't know. But,
So we're back to centrifuge. I mean, you're on board, right?
yeah.
So, so the only question is, what equipment is needed to perform the test? Because if we have to run those things back and forth, you're talking about hours
Right.
each week that someone has to perform those tasks. It would be far better if there was some way for us to do the testing ourselves. I just don't know that it's possible.
Right.
Something to look into.
But yeah, so it's possible we could have things that, you know, would involve like coordinating a volunteer program,
Sure,
overseeing it. That could be potentially of interest to somebody like him,
No, I thought that
and useful to us.
I think his certainly his skill set puts him in a position for that.
Yeah.
How'd you feel?
George, I think said it very well. in terms of my-
You're afraid to be bored?
Uh,
Or the other part?
possible, but would he stay, or would he get bored? Is that what you said? Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to know. But-
No, I mean, you have to worry about the same thing no matter
Mhm.
who you're hiring for whatever you're hiring, right?
I mean, I've been in his position before,
Mhm.
and so I definitely understand. I definitely, have no reason to doubt that he says that at this point in his life this fits in, but it doesn't last. Things change, they grow.
They
and,
sure do.
Situations change.
And there are no givens. I know some people only last a week.
Okay.
So I
Yep.
agree. I think he's got the personality. He's got a lot of skills. It wouldn't take him long to figure out how to apply those skills to this position.
No,
I don't know whether it would be exciting enough for him. But maybe he's not looking for excitement. He's really just looking for something that he can focus on for 19 hours a week. And
take a paycheck and.
yeah,
Well, I would be very excited to at least contact his references and see if there's anything that comes from that.
I mean, he provided 3 or 4 very solid reference letters. So I mean that speaks to some of the things that we've talked about. His overall skill set, his personality, his demeanor, all that. The one thing that he kind of went into when he stated it in his cover letter is that he communicates effectively, which I think he displayed. I think that's very important.
I thought the knotweed question was good.
Yeah.
I thought the knotweed
Yeah.
answer was better. And never mind the picture there's a picture of a loon in here.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, really enough for me right there.
Mhm.
So having been the person who checked references last time, for the last few, I would say kiss of death here.
Ah,
Let's not jinx it.
we'll give it a shot. Okay, so based on our conversation, we'll call in some of his references and see what we find out.
I think he's definitely a viable candidate.
I think he is as well. So, I think we should pursue him. So, Glenda is from Leicester. So,
Is it
something-
Leicester or Leicester?
Leicester.
so that's 40 minutes away,
Yeah, I mean,
plus or minus.
probably
Okay.
about the same as native.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. If anything, she might even be closer. She might even take less time to get here
From less
because of the
traffic.
highway.
There's less traffic in
Yeah.
that
No
direction.
27, no
Exactly.
Route 2. She'd be
Yeah.
190, that kind of thing.
Just a short stretch on Route 2, and she could even figure out
Yeah, there's a cheat for that.
Yeah. So.
So she was planning to come in tonight, but she was moving.
Yeah, I mean, I emailed both of them yesterday just to confirm and to remind them that the front door is locked, to come in the side door, blah, blah, blah. And she had responded that, yep, she would be here and was definitely still interested. And then tonight at 6:05, I sincerely apologize that I could not make my 8:30 p.m. interview appointment tonight. We are in the process of moving out of our house and have to have everything out by tomorrow at 2 p.m. I'm available for an interview anytime next week. Apologize for any inconvenience.
So this is interesting.
Fishy.
So she was on the Town of Leicester Conservation Commission as a board member from 2006 to 2012. But during that time, she was also the conservation administrator for 1 year. Are we told that's wrong?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Let's see a town meeting approval.
Mm.
Want to reach out to her for tips? All right, so I would still like to talk to Glenda. You want to see if she can? You said she could come in next week.
Yeah.
You guys are killing me. Are you guys interested in a Thursday meeting next week? Are you available for a Thursday meeting next week?
Yeah, pretty sure.
Okay. So, the only problem is I don't know what the plan is yet. My Thursday, Friday might be messed up. I may not be here. So, or if I was not gonna be here, I'd probably be leaving Thursday to
I
not be
would
here.
rather not interview without you there.
Well, I guess I'm just trying to think, although if it was the only thing that we were doing that night,
Does it have to be Thursday?
well, that's what I was just trying to think.
Yeah.
So what I was actually thinking was if we did it Thursday night and then, I could just leave after. That would work. It
What
would stink, but it would work.
about Tuesday then?
No, I don't wanna mess with Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Okay.
Those are always full in other ways. Do you have an hour on Thursday night?
I'm not sure, possibly.
Okay. Do you?
As far as I can think of, yes, but
Now, or is she the only other one we're gonna talk to?
Well, so let's go through.
So,
Yeah.
okay,
I'll be right back.
Sure.
we did get,
We got Joseph Smith from
Joseph-
Leominster.
right, who,
Oh, so hold on a sec. So let's look. So I know you mentioned Glenda. So she was an agent
it would appear so.
and has been on a conservation commission, including during the time she was an agent, which is interesting, right? Okay, so we met with Brian, who has never been an agent, but has experience. And then Mr. Smith,
No experience.
so how did I see this? Did you email this?
What?
Yes.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. So I found that interesting. So natural resource studies, which was pretty exciting. But then he worked as a river guide, a lift operator, and I saw it was a team building instructor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Mr. Smith sounds like he is a very nice person, but he does not have any professional experience at all in what we're
Doesn't
talking
sound as
about.
experienced as some of our early applicants that we put in the no pile.
I would agree.
We also got a
David Pickert. Oh, he's Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, do you agree, Georgia, in not pursuing him?
What were his qualifications? I'm just worried Rhode Island is such a long way away.
Dave Marr comes from Rhode Island.
Who?
Dave Marr.
Economic development.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But it's like
In
two
the
states
job.
away.
Yeah. For a part-time job, it actually seems like you eat up half your salary on the commute.
That's his decision to make. I don't think that's ours.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's,
Well, I agree with you. I just don't want him to quit after 3 months because he says, holy smokes, I never thought the commute would be this bad.
yeah.
Looks like he was at VHB for 17 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they're in Watertown. Boy,
Mhm.
that's a horrible ride. We were just looking at this other fella. We looked at Joseph Smith.
Yep.
Were you here for that?
No.
Okay, sorry. Joseph Smith is the resume that
I
Jess emailed
I
during
did
the
see
week.
it.
And if we were looking for a river guide, then we'd be good, or a lift operator, but he just doesn't have any professional experience at all since he got
Right.
out of school.
Right. Good.
Which is too bad, because it sounds like his major was in the right direction, he just didn't end up doing that. But then we were looking at this Mr. David Pickert, and so my concern with Mr. Pickett is that he's coming from Rhode Island, and that puts him in a tough spot to show up all the time, and especially for our short hours. I was worried he might not, might be the kind of thing where he leaves because he realizes what a difficult opportunity that is.
Um,
I would say that of the 3 or 4 that we're considering tonight, he's got the most.
Which one? Take it.
Oh, he
On
certainly
paper,
does.
he's the most qualified.
Yeah.
No, and he certainly is, and
I agree that the fact that he's in Rhode Island is
a real
a question mark.
concern.
A question mark, I would say. But
He's willing to come. Why don't we take an hour to talk to him?
All right. Why don't we do this?
Mhm.
So, do you have time to call him?
Mhm.
Okay. Take 2 seconds and
3.
7.
Okay.
Here, no, I'm doing it right now. Smart Alec. Okay.
You're calling him?
No.
Oh, it's too late. What are you doing right now?
Evening is too late. It's 9:30.
Okay.
The workday isn't even over. So, he's in Rhode Island,
Mhm.
in Cumberland.
That's a Massachusetts number.
Probably got it when he was, maybe he was living in Mass when he was working for VHB.
Mm.
Here we go. One hour and 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Would you like to call him and just tell him that we'd certainly we're certainly intrigued by his credentials,
Mhm.
and ask him if he's comfortable with the commute up for a conversation next week,
Mhm.
and let him know that we're just we're concerned that his commute might make this make this tricky for him to attend during weather, etc. Just ask him questions centered around his concerns or viability of the commute. That's all. Does that make sense?
Okay. Okay, so basically say we'd be interested in his credentials. and-
We're certainly interested in his
Certainly.
credentials. We'd be excited to talk to him next Thursday if he's available,
Okay.
and potentially that way we could talk to Mr. Pickert and talk to Glenda at the same time.
And then just, express that our biggest concern at the moment is the viability
Well,
of the
just-
commute.
Just say, it's a fair statement. It's a fair question to say, we're a little concerned, you're so far away. Do you have any concerns about that yourself? And maybe he says, no, you know what, my favorite thing to do is to drive and listen to books on tape. Great, can't wait to see you. So, I'm agreeing with you. I just, every time we've ever hired anybody with a long
Mhm.
commute, they last like 6 months. 6 at the most. More than the one meeting that Jess drove that girl off with, but still 6 months. And they say to themselves, oh my gosh, I can't do this anymore. That's my only concern. My only concern. But maybe he's, maybe he's a books on tape or download those, those podcasts.
So should try to set both of them up for next Thursday.
That would be spiffy.
I would give
And
him-
make him 7.
I was going to say make him first. Yeah, I'll do a special agenda for that. We did get one other application.
Yeah? How did I miss it?
I didn't forward it.
Oh, that's it.
It was new letter from Robert Bennett of Seven Hills, Ohio, who applied back in earlier. Takashi had talked to somebody at what was it, Department of Transportation. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm still confused about this. And by the way, just so we're on the same page, guess how far it is from Leicester to here according to my Google Maps?
I don't know how far.
Guess.
Let's say
47?
42.
55.
53.
Also an hour commute, basically.
So we're a 7-minute difference.
Yeah,
And the Leicester commute, you have to go through Worcester.
yeah.
So, interesting.
Which is always fun.
No. Things no one has ever said before.
Okay, so,
He's in Ohio. Here, let me do that one. So,
you had talked to somebody at the Department of Transportation or something, right? We had decided not to pursue this.
we did, and I can't state it enough times, Ohio. All right, so never mind the fact that we're missing a football game tonight.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know what? I forgot all about it. As soon as this whole inflate gate started, I just stopped caring.
Who's playing who?
Patriots are playing the Giants.
Packers, yeah.
Packers. The
Green
Patriots
Bay.
are playing the Packers. The other team we hate.
Already?
Yeah, but why do we hate the
Preseason.
Packers? Hate the Packers already? No, it's been for years. It was because of 1997.
What did they do in 1997?
Won a Super Bowl that we never should have lost, except that Bill Parcells knew he was on the way out, so he threw the game. He kicked to Desmond Howard, for God's sakes. Cheat sheet on this? I'll write it down. That's it.
None of that means anything.
Where were you at the time?
1997
Yeah.
in Guatemala.
All right, first of all, there's no way you were in Guatemala, because if you were, you would have pronounced it Guatemala. However,
No, it's not.
that's how they pronounce it.
What's that?
I had a Guatemalan lady who worked in our dentist's office. She said it like 7 times. I had to stop myself from laughing.
Hey, give me
Remember,
your
like it was
green
yesterday.
Huh?
Give
The
me
green
your
folder. Yeah.
Really?
Okay, so we've covered all the things for the office. We're going to try and find out if we can have Glenda. Are you a good witch? I'm never going to be able to not say it. I'm never going to be able to not say it.
Somebody said that upstairs.
Glenda and David to come in next Thursday. I'm gonna count on you to send the email. It was like we had a woman who worked with us. Her name was Brandy from Ericsson. Like, this is Brandy. Could not talk to her without singing the song.
And in the meantime, are you going to maybe call some?
I'm gonna call
references?
references.
Okay.
Community Preservation Committee. Did you meet?
We met. Nothing extraordinary.
Done. Stormwater. Nobody. Pond and dam. I need to get back. I texted Chuck the other day. He keeps texting me to ask me about talking about other stuff about what's coming up, and I'm very concerned. I don't really want to get into any weed treatment until we have a plan. So anyway, Greenway. Done.
National River Watershed Association
Yeah.
is having a walk next Tuesday evening at Pine Meadow.
Oh, yeah.
Really? For what?
Part of our Healthy Trail program.
But
It's
they're
not.
doing 2 on the same evening. They're
Yeah.
starting in Harvard and doing one of the old tank roads on Devon's, I think,
Yeah.
and then coming up to Ayer.
So when you say the old tank road, you mean like a road that the tanks used to drive on?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Get out.
Yeah.
Well, that's the cool one.
Yeah.
That's Tuesday?
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. A tank road on Devon's? What's cooler than that?
A real tank.
Yeah, actually, driving the tank would be really cool.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just wondering if have they contacted us? I haven't heard anything.
No.
Yeah.
Tank road walk. And it's heart healthy?
Yeah.
It might just be the one that is at the just off the parking area down at the Oxbow Wildlife Refuge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be interesting. Although,
So it's not that exciting.
no. Well, actually, you're talking about the one that the parking area for the building that they built that no one's been in, or the parking area for the walk down to the river that no one can use?
No, I am talking about the one that if you go down to Still River,
Just sent it to you.
Oh, thank you.
where there's
Email or text.
Email.
where the boat launch is for the Oxbow Refuge
Do you mean in Harvard?
in Harvard.
Oh, okay.
Still River,
Yeah.
yeah.
I thought. So, are you familiar with the new stairs down in the Oxbow in Devon's that has been blocked off for 2 years.
Because, yeah, the contractor, like, I don't know, went bankrupt or something, yeah.
I don't know, but looks pretty finished.
Except it's not open, right?
Not open,
I've been waiting to go down there for years. And,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, I haven't seen it because it's never.
Oh, well, one day one of the boards was down, and so it didn't feel like the wrong thing to do. So I went down, and they need riprap at the bottom, and it'll be fine. Or a stepped area
there
down
was-
the bottom.
The rumor I heard is that there was just a big issue with the contractor, and
Interesting.
Yeah.
Some sort of kerfuffle.
yeah,
Well, anyway, never mind the fact that he built it wrong the first time and had to tear half of it up. Maybe that was it.
nah, I don't know what it was, but
Okay. Thank you for that. That's exciting. The tank road thing sounds interesting. Open space?
Met the other night
Yeah, I understand.
and starting to go through the goals section, which Jeremy Callahan came from the planning board. He noted there were an awful lot of mentions of the planning board in terms of responsible party, and there were at least as many for Conservation Commission and DPW. So Mark Wetzel was going to give it a shot at weaning it down to something that looked a lot more doable. Less scary. I know there were 54 items that mentioned Conservation Commission.
54.
Yeah.
Is there a new Conservation Commission coming on board?
Must be.
maybe we can get a full-time administrator.
Sure,
to,
sure.
and to do all 54
Just
of
to
those
do
things,
that.
Yeah.
And then the other things would be cool too.
Yeah. Well, that was in that context that Robert was,
If only you had more hours, you could actually do all these things we've just decided you were going to do.
Right. Yeah, so. One other last thing would be Jeff Thomas was walking by the other day when I was heavily invested in unpacking and said something about, we're going to get together, arrange a date to walk Peroni Park this fall sometime.
Great
So
idea.
I'll start to try and get several Saturday dates from him, and then circulate them and see what we can coordinate.
Well, we're always best to do one right after one of our meetings. So like the 12th of September or the 26th. Kind of Saturday, we always end up doing a walk anyway, so.
The one after the 26th, that's Garlic and Arts Festival.
Oh,
Not that day.
yeah.
Thank you. I love the
Okay.
Garlic and Arts
We'll
Festival.
figure-
I get new
yeah.
socks every single year. You
Yeah.
go?
We're going this year.
I always get new socks.
I've been
Llama.
there for a few years, but I have some prints I have on my walls from there.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, several, actually, two different kinds, two different little settings.
She always gets photographs.
Yeah, well, that's what I have. One
Oh,
of
yeah.
them's photographs, one of them's print. But then also I got this really cool wrought iron little owl.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
We went the last time and unfortunately allowed Noah to have a grass-fed beef burger and told him what it was, and then he wouldn't eat regular meat after that.
Big difference in taste.
Unbelievable difference in taste. Yeah,
Scary, isn't it?
wouldn't eat anything else. It was like, well, I'm not buying that other food, so I don't know what you're going to go hungry with. But anyway, I end up having to, now we have to buy grass-fed beef when we make our beef, onions, peppers,
Things.
pasta. Anyway, oh, that's right.
Uh-oh.
I'll rant when we get off camera. All right. Member update?
I will not be here for September 10th meeting
You bugger.
or September 12th sidewalks.
Good to get that in now.
Mhm.
Citizen concerns?
Left.
Motion to adjourn?
So,
Second.
All in favor say aye.
uh,
Aye.